Today on Fox Saturday Baseball, we head into the final month of the regular season. We're in Boston, where a potential playoff preview is brewing. The defending AL champion Rangers take on this year's powerhouse, the Boston Red Sox.
Gone, a home run. He's done it again.
While on the south side, Ozzy's boys are running out of chances to make a playoff push. Today, the White Sox head to Motown, where the first-place Tigers are looking to distance themselves from the rest of the Central. And in St. Louis, it's a battle of MVPs when Joey Votto leads the Reds against Albert Pujols and the Cardinals.
It's a goner!
All the game's best action starts right now on Fox Saturday Baseball.
Welcome to the Chevrolet pregame show on Fox. Another beautiful day here in New England, and for the 701st consecutive time, Fenway Park will be jam-packed. A sellout streak that dates back to May of '03. Today, the wildcard leading Red Sox host AL West leading Texas. Rangers took the series opener last night 10-zip. Michael Young, he's second in baseball in batting. Meanwhile, Kevin Youkilis trying to get back in the swing of things. It's just his second game back after being activated off the DL. Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Rose, and welcome once again to Fox Saturday Baseball. Coming up in just a bit, most of you stay right here in Boston to check out the Rangers and the Red Sox. Texas trying to hand Boston its third straight loss overall. Meanwhile, some of you are off to Motown to check out another first-place team, Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers. And really, a must-win game for Paul Konerko and the White Sox, who are 6.5 back in the AL Central. And the rest of you are off to sweltering St. Louis. It's more than 100 degrees on the field for the Reds and the Cardinals. Joey Votto having another outstanding year, and Lance Berkman with 30 homers. Another great bounce-back season for the all-star right fielder. Little early ball for you today in the Bronx, and the Yankees trying to extend that half-game lead they have over Boston in the American League East. Doing battle with Toronto this afternoon, and good to see A-Rod back after missing 6 games with a sprained thumb. Went 1 for 3. Tied at 3 in the 5th till that. Dwayne Wise, his first of the year, gives the Jays the lead, but here come the Yankees. Robbie Cano, RBIs 100 and 101. Yankees lead at 6-4. There's 2 down in the top of the 9th. Latest news and notes right now. We welcome in Ken Rosenthal, senior writer from FoxSports.com. And Kenny, the Red Sox have one eye on the Yankees, another eye on the Cubs. That's because of their GM vacancy. A lot of talk around the game. They're going to make a run at Theo Epstein of the Red Sox. Is that likely to happen?
Not likely, Chris. And the reason is Theo Epstein has another year left on his contract. So for the Cubs to get him, they would have to convince Theo, and they'd have to convince the Red Sox that they were going to make him an offer that he can't refuse. Brian Cashman, his contract is up, but the Yankees want him back. He wants to return. Also not likely to happen. And finally, Andrew Friedman, the Rays GM, another hot name, but he is extremely loyal to his owner. He is also likely to stay put.
All right, Kenny, let's move from the north side to the south side of Chicago. And Ozzie Guillen, we know he has one more year left on his contract. A little news this week, though. He says, you know what? You don't extend me? I'm not coming back. Now, Kenny, how much of this is Ozzie just being Ozzie?
Chris, 2 schools of thought on this. Some people who know Ozzie say this is a classic Ozzie diversionary tactic. Take the pressure off his veterans and the young kids that the White Sox have now. But the other school of thought is, hey, he is in the last year of his contract. He does not want to be a lame duck next year and possibly get fired in the middle of the season. But keep in mind, Jerry Reinsdorf is loyal to Ozzie, and he's loyal to his GM, Ken Williams. One GM told me, bet on no movement here.
That is a fun situation right there. And Kenny, finally, the Atlanta Braves, first place in the NL wildcard chase. Problems with their starting rotation, though. Tommy Hanson out because of a sore shoulder, and now Jair Jurgens is going to miss tomorrow's start because of a bum knee. What's next for their starting staff?
Well, they're in better shape than most teams would be, Chris, considering the situation. They've got Mike Minor doing a good job in the rotation right now. They've got Hudson, Lowe, and Brandon Beachy. And more than anything, they have perhaps the deepest bullpen in all of baseball. It will only get deeper on Monday when Peter Moylan returns. There's Kimbrel, there's Venters, there's all the guys in front of them. They can turn it into a 6-inning game.
Yeah, 6 innings and then hand it over to that all-star bullpen. All right, Ken Rosenthal will continue to read your work on FoxSports.com and follow you on Twitter as well. Coming up next, we're going to get you out to your ball game. Most of you are going to stay right here as the Rangers take on the Red Sox. Others are off to steamy St. Louis for the Cardinals and the Reds as they go swing for swing. The rest of you get the White Sox and the Tigers from Motown. We'll get you out to the yard next on Fox.
Park for the 701st consecutive time. Ted Williams statue outside of Fenway, and a terrific day for baseball as Fox Saturday Baseball presents the Texas Rangers against the Boston Red Sox. And welcome to Fenway, everybody. I'm Dick Stockton along with Tim McCarver. Red Sox, after losing last night and 3 of their last 4, now trail the Yankees by a half a game in the AL East. Meanwhile, the Rangers built on their lead against the Angels in the West and now have a 4.5 game bulge. A 10-0 whopping win last night. Good pitching, good hitting, and pitching becomes a key for the Rangers today.
Particularly starting pitching after bolstering their bullpen around the All-Star break. Not only do the Rangers have to hold off Mike Scioscia's crew in Southern California, but they've got to work on their starting pitching. C.J. Wilson is fine. Derek Holland with that shutout last night, but Colby Lewis, a very important start for him today.
Meanwhile, the Red Sox right now are battling nip and tuck with the Yankees, but if they are the wild card team, they could very well be playing these Rangers in the American League Division Series. So, the Rangers and the Red Sox, 2 teams having terrific seasons, getting set to battle at Fenway, and we'll be back with the first pitch in just a moment. Right now, the sun is shining here on the field at Fenway Park, and here is today's starting lineup for the Rangers. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Facing Eric Bedard will be Ian Kinsler at second base, Elvis Andrus at shortstop, Josh Hamilton will be at left field, and Michael Young at first base. Adrian Beltre will be the third baseman. Mike Napoli is the designated hitter. Yorvi Torrealba behind the plate. David Murphy in right field, and Craig Gentry batting ninth in center field. And here is today's sprint pitcher profile for Eric Bedard. Came over from Seattle July 31st, looking for his first win in a Red Sox uniform.
He has had 5 starts, 26 innings of work. He varies his curveball speeds. He's cagey and coy, and he uses that slide step with runners on base.
0-2 against the Rangers this year, and 4-4 lifetime. And the Red Sox pitching their third straight left-hander, which is a rarity. Well, the opening pitch will be brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And last night, the Texas Rangers grabbed a lot of runs and got tremendous pitching as well, winning 10-0, scoring 6 runs in the first inning against Andrew Miller, knocking him out in the second. And so here is Ian Kinsler. And has he been poisoned to the Red Sox? He hit a 3-run homer last night. 5 homers against Boston. And 3 home runs in a span of 4 at-bats going back to Thursday. Kinsler hitting .243. And the first pitch of the game from Bedard, missing ball 1. Kinsler with 24 homers and 65 runs driven in. In for the strike, and the count 1-1 last night. Here was the 3-run home run by Ian Kinsler. Wow. In fact, there are 5 hitters in the Texas lineup who have hit homers against Bedard in their career. 2 balls and 1 strike to the Rangers' leadoff batter.
Bedard, a different pitcher now than he was several years ago. His first September start since 2006.
Youkilis at third, and Kinsler is out, and the crowd delighted to be yelling "Uke" once again. Crawford, Ellsbury, and Reddick in the outfield for the Red Sox. Youkilis at third, Lowry at short, Pedroia at second, and Adrian Gonzalez at first. And Jared Saltalamacchia behind the plate, catching Eric Bedard. Youkilis returning after being on the disabled list, and a big bat in the middle of that Boston lineup. Here's Elvis Andrus hitting .274 with 4 homers and 56 runs batted in. Well, this Texas team can hit.
They can hit. And as we said in the opening, the big thing for Texas is to establish a 3rd, 4th, and 5th starter during the month of September while continuing to win in the process.
Strike 1 to Andrus. If he gets on, he's dangerous. 34 stolen bases amongst the league leaders. Rangers coming in second in hitting in the league. The Red Sox number 1. Oh, 0-2 now to Andrus.
There's the harder curveball. He threw 2 soft ones to Kinsler. Finally got Ian on that ground ball to third. But no shortstop in the history of Major League Baseball has ever had 30-plus stolen bases his first 3 years. And Elvis Andrus has done that.
He's done a lot of things for the Rangers. The only thing he really hasn't done is hit for average. And close, taken for a ball, 1-2. There it is. First shortstop in the big league since 1900 for that achievement. Infield and outfield playing straight away for the Rangers shortstop. Fouls it out of play.
I mean, if you're a hitter against Eric Bedard, you've got to go up looking for the breaking ball. That's why a lot of fastballs will be fouled off the other way. He throws so many breaking balls and varies the speed on so many curveballs And when you get the fastball, you're startled.
Grounded through the hole and a base hit for Andrews. 1 out base hit, then the Rangers have a base runner.
Back to the breaking ball, the harder curve, and Andrews the first base run of the ball game. More than any other Red Sox pitcher, Eric Bedard can stop the running game. He does it with the slide step and is very, very quick to home plate.
So here's Josh Hamilton batting .296, 19 homers and 75 runs batted in. The reigning American League MVP. Lead at first base for Andrews, who stole his 34th base last night. And the first pitch is a strike. Now, Hamilton is trying various contact lenses because he has struggled hitting in day games. Hitting .173 with 4 runs batted in day games this year. Chops this one into right field for a base hit. Andrews will go to third base, and back-to-back singles, and the Rangers have runners at the corners with 1 out.
And if you're wondering, this is a day game, even though it's a 4:10 start. A little confusing right there, but with Gonzalez holding the runner at first base, Hamilton with a single over the head of Gonzalez, and Andrus easily into third base.
Runners at first and third to Michael Young, who is second behind Adrian Gonzalez in the American League batting race, hitting .335. He has 11 homers and 89 runs batted in, and now that Adrian Beltre is back and installed at third base, Young will probably go back more or less to full-time DH, although he's playing first today. There are the runners at the corners, and infield playing at double play depth. And a breaking ball in for the strike. 0-1. So we talk about Gonzalez and Young, but Ellsbury, Ortiz, and Pedroia also in the top 10 in the American League in hitting. Adrian Beltre on deck for the Rangers, who threaten here in the top of the first inning. They scored 6 last night in the first inning and put the game away. That pitch is inside, and a fake throw by Saltalamacchia trying to keep Andrews close at third. Michael Young has not hit Bedard much for average, but does have a home run off of the lefty. 1-1 pitch, and a line drive to Gonzalez, who will double off Hamilton to end the inning. A hard hit ball, and the Red Sox turn the double play. 2 hits, 1 left. Red Sox come up in the first. Rangers, and here is today's starting lineup for the Red Sox, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Jacoby Ellsbury leading off. Dustin Pedroia hitting second. Adrian Gonzalez in the third slot. Kevin Youkilis back at cleanup. David Ortiz, the DH. Jed Lowry is at shortstop. Carl Crawford batting seventh. Josh Reddick batting in the eighth spot. And Jared Saltalamacchia batting ninth against Colby Lewis, 11-9 on the season, making his 28th start.
Talking to Mike Maddox, the pitching coach for the Rangers last night, and he said before you talk about Colby Lewis's arm, you have to talk about his heart. The fascinating story, he pitched a couple of years in Japan in 2008, 2009. Home run ball is a problem. 31's the most in the American League, and he is one of the Rangers' pitching keys to October.
No question, as you look at today's Sprint pitcher profile. And Colby Lewis, who has 2 complete games and a shutout, and facing Jacoby Ellsbury, hitting .313 with 24 homers and 84 runs batted in. Beltre playing a few steps in at third against the possible bunt. First pitch is in for a strike. Ellsbury having an MVP season, and you could put him in the same class as Pedroia, Gonzalez, and Granderson.
You got MVP, potential MVPs all over the American League East. Yankees winning their game 6-4 today. Boone Logan, the left-hander, off of whom Jacoby Ellsbury hit an opposite field home run when the Yankees, the middle of the game of that Yankee series, it was his first opposite field home run in his professional career.
You think somewhere along the line, on your way up, you hit one to left field. 2 balls and 1 strike to Ellsbury against Colby Lewis, and now the count is 3-1. And with that win by the Yankees today, they now have extended their lead to a full game over the Red Sox. 3 balls and a strike to Ellsbury with Dustin Pedroia on deck. Changeup is outside, and Ellsbury's aboard. Third in the league with 36 stolen bases. Let's take a look at the Rangers defensively. Josh Hamilton in left, Craig Gentry center field, and David Murphy in right. Beltre, Andrews, Kinsler, and Young in the infield, and Torrealba behind the plate. The Rangers have struggled defensively this year. They are 13th in the American League and have committed 104 errors, just 4 fewer than the Oakland A's. As Pedroia steps in, he's 10th in the league. Quick throw to first, and diving back is Ellsbury. So Pedroia batting .308, 18 homers, 74 runs batted in, and Adrian Gonzalez to follow. Ball strike to Dustin Pedroia. Pedroia, of course, was installed in the cleanup spot with Youkilis out of there. And now back to Terry Francona's a more comfortable number 2 position in the Red Sox order. Fouled at the plate, and it's 0-2 to Pedroia.
That pitch, Pedroia way out in front as you look at Terry Francona, the manager of the Red Sox. Pedroia way out in front. But with 2 strikes, forget it. Unfazed. He has more hits with 2 strikes on him than any other major league hitter.
And he shortens up the bat at the plate.
His whole approach is different. Hits the ball to right field. Good time to do it with the hole on the right side.
1-2 now. Rookie of the year in 08. Been an MVP. 3-time All-Star, not this season. Red Sox leading in team batting average, and the Rangers right behind. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ellsbury with the lead at first, and now he gets back without a slide.
One of those great days here in Boston yesterday, coming out to the ballpark and coming out about 3 o'clock and listening to Dustin Pedroia hold court in the dugout is just classic. He said, you know, they kept giving me quizzes at Arizona State, X plus Y equals 4. He said, that's not going to help me hit the fastball. Not going to help me with 2 strikes. Go the other way. X plus Y equals 4. I mean, it was hilarious. Francona was out there, and Dustin was kidding Francona. Talk about a guy who loves the game and never leaves anything on the field when the game is over.
And to be a winning team, you have to have people like Dustin Pedroia in the clubhouse, various personalities, loose personalities, who have a sense of humor like he does.
He is all of that.
Ellsbury gets back again. You know about the Red Sox with their horrendous 2-10 start, but since May the 17th, the biggest lead in the division has been 3 games, and the Red Sox have had it twice in July. But now the Yankees in front by a game after winning earlier today.
That's his approach right there. He didn't have that approach the first 2 pitches, but with 2 strikes, he shortens up intelligently. You can see a late swing, trying to go the other way, but protecting the plate. We used to hear hitters talk about how you choke up with 2 strikes. I don't think you have to choke up, but just choke up in your thinking. Think the other way. That's good enough.
And the short stroke.
That's right.
Again, the 1-2. Ellsbury takes off and will get to second as Beltre makes the play to throw out Pedroia. Ellsbury was about almost halfway on that pitch. He moves to second as Pedroia is retired.
I saw the same thing you did, Dick. I thought Beltre had a shot at second, but when you have a bad hamstring, that hinders not only your offense, your swinging, your running, but your defense too.
Updated standings, as you saw, 1-game lead for the Yankees in the East and a 4.5-game lead for the Rangers in the West. Their biggest lead, Texas, was 7 games in the middle of August, and it got down to 2. And they've raised the ante since then. Here's Adrian Gonzalez. So he's the leading hitter in the league, batting .342, 23 homers, already 103 runs batted in. And that pitch is down low, ball 1.
This is an interesting situation because we mentioned Beltre's hamstring problem. If Ellsbury took off, it would be very difficult for Beltre to beat him to the bag unless he cheated and went toward the bag before the guy made contact. And that's with Gonzalez, who has a lot of power the other way. So it's a lot to think about in this situation.
And Lewis, of course, has really a lot to think about in facing Gonzalez, who was 5 for 6 against him, including 2 home runs. And it wasn't that long ago that he hit those 2 homers. It was last week when the Red Sox played at Texas, losing the first game of the series and then taking the next 3. 2 balls and no strikes, so Gonzalez could get a good pitch here. He takes it for the fastball and a strike. 2-1. Ken Rosenthal is with us as well. And for the DirecTV updates, Chris Rhodes, cast of thousands today here at Fenway. That pitch outside. At 3-1 now to Gonzalez with Kevin Youkilis on deck. Ron Washington got Texas to the World Series last year, defending league champs. A lot of people think they're better this time around. Breaking ball over for the strike, and the count is full to Gonzalez. 3-2 with 1 out, and Ellsbury at second.
That's a good pitch, a curveball and a fastball count.
Colby Lewis, 11-9 on the year. Ellsbury with the lead. Lewis has given up 31 home runs this year and has taken high, ball 4. And Gonzalez draws the second walk this inning from Colby Lewis. And runners are at first and second, and Kevin Youkilis coming up. So Youkilis, who returned from the disabled list on Friday and was 0 for 3 last night. Lewis with his 31 home runs given up, 5 more than A.G. Burnett. And the major league leader is Bronson Arroyo, who was allowed 36 for the Reds, the former Red Sox righty. Youkilis' numbers: 2 on, 1 out, bottom of the first. There's a strike.
That combination of Euclid hitting in this ballpark, it's about 150 points higher here at Fenway, and with runners on base a bit higher than that. 330 lifetime for Euclid with runners in scoring position.
And it's popped up. Foul out of play. And great catch made that time for the out by Young. And that is the second out of the inning. Well, Ken, we've been talking about the importance of this game and the Rangers pitching overall the rest of the way.
Well, Dick, you guys mentioned it in the open. The rotation is the biggest question facing this team. No Cliff Lee anymore. You've got Colby Lewis. He allowed 7 runs to the Red Sox the last time he faced them without Ortiz and Euclid in the lineup. And then there is Matt Harrison and Alexi Ogando. Ron Washington telling us before the game he's going to skip Ogando's next start on Monday and go with Scott Feldman instead.
Yeah, that's a minor alarm right there. When in September you're skipping a guy with as good an arm as Ogando has when you're trying to establish a rotation. That's a bit alarming for the Rangers.
2 on and 2 out, and David Ortiz takes low and inside, has to do a little rope skipping. And the count 1-0. Ortiz had his 15-game hitting streak snapped last night. Season's high for him, but in the last 16 games, he has been tearing it up. 7 doubles, 7 homers, 16 runs batted in. Ellsbury at second, Gonzalez at first with 2 out. And it's 2-0. And now 2 balls and 1 strike to David Ortiz, who is 4 for 4 against Colby Lewis, but 3 of them have been home runs.
Second baseman in short right. Elvis Andrus, the shortstop, right behind second.
And the count runs to 3-1 with Jed Lowry on deck for the Red Sox. Rangers put 2 men on base in the top of the first inning and didn't score. And the Red Sox have 2 on here with 2 outs. And a 3-1 count to the Red Sox DH. Ball 4. So 3 walks issued in this first inning by Colby Lewis. And the bases are loaded as Ellsbury goes to third, Gonzalez to second. And Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, out to the mound.
Talking to Mike about the Cubs situation yesterday. Why the Cubs? Well, his brother Greg Maddox, the great Greg Maddox, the assistant to the general manager Jim Hendry prior to Hendry's firing. And I was kind of interested in Greg's approach to the Cubs organization. In fact, Theo Epstein, Brian Cashman, general managers of the Red Sox and Yankees respectively, have been mentioned as possibilities, but I guess anybody whose contract is up who is an astute general manager would be mentioned for those vacancies in Chicago.
Of course, Theo Epstein, as Brian Cashman, building up so much of that organization, and it sounds easy to want to jump to another team, you know, for another challenge. If you have a good situation, perhaps you hang in there. Strike 1 to Lowry, who's hitting .265. 4 homers and 29 runs batted in. Lewis has thrown 25 pitches already in this first inning. And this is outside. And it's 1-1. 3 walks in this first inning. And the Red Sox trying to move in front here in the first. And Lowry lines it right to Kinsler. And that will do it. So the Red Sox will leave the bases loaded. We've completed 1 no score here at Fenway Park. Chevrolet is sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun, and by the makers of New Bayer Advanced Aspirin, the official pain reliever of MLB. Both teams threatened in the first inning, and now the Rangers coming up in the second against Eric Bedard. Adrian Beltre will lead off, hitting .275, has 20 homers, 78 runs batted in. Beltre returned from the DL on Thursday, shows a bunt and takes ball one. Last played in late July, had a left hamstring injury and is treating it gingerly as he initially comes back here. Returned to Fenway Park for the first time since leaving as a free agent. Last night had a sacrifice fly, looks at a breaking ball in for the strike, 1-1.
Ron Washington telling us before the game that he has advised Adrian Beltre to take it gingerly, one base at a time. That's common sense.
Just missing outside, and it's 2-1. Beltre will be followed by Mike Napoli and Yorvit Toriopoulos.
Worst thing in the world for Beltre, while his hamstring is trying to improve, is to get one of those tweener infield hits where you have to really bust it down the first baseline.
3-1, and Ron Washington talking about as long as you run in stride,
right,
you're fine.
That was an interesting comment, wasn't it? In stride. In stride.
So maybe about next week he'll know that it's firm enough and he has the confidence and can really go all out, so to speak. Bedard behind 3-1, and this pitch taken for ball 4, and so Beltre is a walk. First base on balls of the game for Bedard. Time now for a DirecTV game break. Let's go down to Chris Rose.
All right, Dick, here's why the Yankees now have a one-game lead in the AL East. Francisco Cervelli, his third homer of the year, two-run shot, clap at home not included. No Mariano Rivera today. They gave the save opportunity to David Robertson. Strikes out Mike McCoy. 6-4 your final. Remember to see every baseball game the most in HD. It's 1-800-DIRECTV. Back on upstairs to Dick and Tim.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Mike Napoli, the DH today for the Rangers, comes in hitting .291, 22 homers, has driven home 57. And the first pitch is low.
Chris Rose referring to that clap at home by Francisco Cervelli against the Red Sox the other night against John Lackey, and then John Lackey hit him the next time up. Both benches emptied.
There's John Lackey.
John pitching tomorrow against Matt Harrison.
And a call strike, 1-1. Beltre not even faking it, does not have much of a lead at first base as you look at Napoli's August and what a presence he has meant to this team.
Well, I'll say he was a big presence with the Los Angeles Angels at Anaheim and Mike Scioscia. That's one of the things that Ron pointed out. He said, no wonder he's good at handling our pitching staff. He was trained under Mike Scioscia.
Fouled out of play, 1-2 now to Napoli.
Mike Scioscia, a former major league catcher. And I don't think I have ever seen in the history of the game anybody train catchers to play in the major leagues any better than Scioscia does. Their first responsibility being behind the plate, their second responsibility being at the plate.
One-two to Napoli, and another foul ball out of play. There you see the contrast between Napoli's first and second halves to this season. Texas Rangers have been in first place or tied for the division lead since the middle of May. They have been out of first place for only 13 days. Beltre with a leadoff walk, held on by Adrian Gonzalez. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yorvit Toriopoulos is on deck for Texas. Rangers coming in 79 and 60. They've won 2 in a row. And 4 of their last 5. Changeup missing away and a full count.
Gary Pettis, the first base coach, talking to Adrian Beltre, probably reminding Adrian that if you are running, remember, safety first. Don't re-injure the hamstring.
If you have to just go to third, stay at third. Don't extend it. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And a chopper to third base. Youkilis charges it and fires over in time for the first out, and Beltre moves to second. Good play by Kevin Youkilis, charging in from third. And right now, let's go down to Ken Rosenthal. And Ken, how significant is Bedard to the Red Sox in their scheme of things?
Well, it's a really significant addition, Dick, because the Division Series schedule, the way it plays out, they're going to need 4 starters. Now, how badly did the Red Sox want Bedard? Well, they tried to trade for him even while he was on the disabled list with a sprained left knee. Bedard threw a simulated game for the Mariners about a week before the trade deadline. The Red Sox were watching. They made an offer shortly after that, and of course wound up getting him on deadline day.
And one of 3 straight lefties to go, and that's the first time since 1995 that the Red Sox have started 3 southpaws in a row. Here's Yorvi Torrealba hitting .276, 5 homers, 32 runs batted in. 1 out, Beltre at second, and the first pitch is a strike.
Throughout Red Sox history, it's uncharacteristic to see too many left-handers out on the mound anyway. Mel Parnell comes to mind back in the 50s.
Bill
Lee won 17 games 4 years in a row. I'd say Bill Lee's one of a kind.
Yes, he is.
A great guy. And
the spaceman, as they used to call him.
The spaceman. Guarantee he's watching the game today.
In some cave. 2 strikes the count to Torrealba.
Or something like that.
We jest, though, when talking about Bill Lee.
Great. He's a terrific guy.
Great competitor.
He was that.
Played for USC. And the breaking ball is inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Going back to 1995, when the Vaughn Eshelman, Zane Smith, and Real Cormier were the 3 lefties to go in a row. They're on the tips of everyone's tongue, I'm sure, in Red Sox lore. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Torrealba. Beltre in scoring position, 1 out, no score. Rangers batting in the top of the second. Count is level at 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Torrealba. The outfield shaded around to the right for the right-handed hitter. Already had 4 bases on balls. 3 by Lewis in the first inning, and then Beltre to start the second against Bedard. Gets the fastball, fouls it back.
Yorvi's first appearance for him here at this ballpark was back during the 2007 World Series when he caught for the Colorado Rockies. Red Sox swept them in 4. In fact, under Terry Francona's reign, he has won 8 straight World Series games.
And call strike 3 on the inside corner. Torrealba with a few words for Gary Darling, the home plate umpire, and the first strikeout of the game, 2 down.
That looked like a strike, but again, with Bedard, he's going to come inside. That pitch is a strike. He's going to come inside with 2 strikes, but leading up to 2 strikes, he'll throw an assortment of curveballs, changeups.
So here's David Murphy, the 8th hitter in the lineup and a former first-round draft pick by the Red Sox back in 2003. Had 4 hits last night, including a home run. Now with 8 homers, 33 runs batted in. Bedard, his first pitch is outside for a ball. Beltre led off with a walk. Napoli bounced to Euclid, who made a nifty play charging, and then Torrealba took a called third strike. And a ground ball, base hit up the middle, and they're going to wave Beltre in, and he'll score easily. And the Rangers take a 1-0 lead. David Murphy continues his torrent hitting in this series.
Well, how about that for reach? That ball was ankle high off the plate away, and David Murphy reaching off the plate away to hammer it up the middle. That is a good job of hitting by David Murphy. Has not excelled against left-handed pitching this year, batting under 200, but puts the Rangers on the board. See the eyes, boy, those eyes lighting up at the breaking ball. To hit a pitch like that, you've got to be looking for it, and you've got to be doing your homework before you come up there, and he was.
And so Murphy, with 4 hits last night, has a hit and an RBI here in the second, and the Rangers lead 1-0. Craig Gentry, the 9th hitter in the Texas lineup, the center fielder, and takes ball 1 inside. Gentry making his 27th start in center field. Beltre coming around with the first run. Red Sox are second in runs scored in the league, and the Rangers, like the batting average, right behind them in third. Off-speed pitch, swung on and missed. 1-1. Talked about the left-handed pitchers, Parnell and Lee. We left somebody out. Lefty Grove.
Oh, the great lefty Grove, yeah.
By the way, John Lester is 8th on the all-time Red Sox southpaw list with 75 career wins. Parnell won 123, Grove 105. Lee 94. One and one to Gentry, and he pops it up to the middle of the infield. Pedroia in shallow center makes the catch to retire the side, but David Murphy's 2-out single driving in the run, and the Rangers take a 1-0 lead in the middle of the second. Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. And the Rangers with a 1-0 lead as the Red Sox come up in the second inning against Colby Lewis, who walked 3 in the first inning. As the Red Sox left the bases loaded, Carl Crawford takes a strike. Crawford was a late scratch due to illness from last night's lineup. He's in there today, batting 7th, hitting .251, 10 homers and 48 runs driven in. And hits this out to left field where Josh Hamilton now backtracks and makes the catch for the first out. Time now for a DirecTV game break. Chris Rose.
All right, Dick, the Tigers and White Sox now tied at 1 thanks to Miguel Cabrera. This is about as close as you can get to hitting a home run without hitting a home run. Scores Delman Young, and watch Ozzie Guillen. He's telling Cabrera, his good friend, you didn't eat your spinach this afternoon for lunch. Remember, you can see every baseball game the most in HD. 1-800-DIRECTV. Back on upstairs to Dick and Tim.
All right, Chris, one of the colorful skippers in the big leagues.
Oh, he is, absolutely. I guess one of the questions as far as Ozzie's concerned is, will he be with the White Sox next year, or will he be with the Florida Marlins going into their new stadium?
Ozzie lives down in the Fort Lauderdale area as Josh Reddick takes a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Red Sox right fielder, coming in hitting .275, 6 home runs. He's driven in 26 on the year. And now the count 1-2.
Dick, Chris Rose talking about Detroit. What about Justin Verlander? Talk about out of sight. 30 starts. He's gone 6 innings at least in each start. 21-5.
Fly ball down the right field line. Hugging the line. It's a fair ball, and it goes into the stands for a ground rule double. Josh Reddick, who has been slumping as of late, has a 1-out double, and the Red Sox with the tying run at second.
That fastball in on the hands, but Josh gets enough of it to just hit it over the Scott sign near the pesky pole. Pesky pole, of course, named after the great, the one and only Johnny Pesky, the longtime shortstop of the Red Sox.
And a longtime coach.
An announcer.
Right.
Done everything for Boston.
There's the number 6. Johnny Pesky's number. And the others. Bobby Doerr, Carl Yastrzemski, Joe Cronin, and of course number 9 on the right, Ted Williams. We showed you his statue before the game. First pitch to Jared Saltalamacchia is a ball 1-0. Saltalamacchia hitting .248, 13 homers, and 46 runs batted in. So a 1-out double by Josh Reddick, who had been in a tailspin. Missing outside is Colby Lewis, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. On deck will be the top of the order, Jacoby Ellsbury. Lewis looking for his 12th win of the year. Fastball over, 2-1. The Rangers' road ERA is the best in the big leagues at 3.14. And that's the best since the Atlanta Braves back in 2002, when you knew the kind of pitchers they threw there, home or away.
That's unusual for an American League team, because the National League team does not have a DH with which to deal. So you'd think that would be open for a National League team almost every year, but not in this case.
2-1 upcoming to Saltalamacchia. And it's in there for the strike. Rangers have won 5 of the 8 games played against the Red Sox this season. Good fastball, and Saltalamacchia goes down, and that is the first strikeout for Lewis, and there are 2 down. Next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the Twins head to Detroit to take on the AL Central leading Tigers, or the A's will be in Texas to square off against these West-leading Rangers or the Indians battle the White Sox. Next week's telecast of Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by Chevrolet, begins at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. So here's Ellsbury, who walked and was stranded at third in the first inning. Reddick, the runner at second with 2 down. And way behind that pitch was Ellsbury for a strike.
Not often that a pitcher will throw a hitter a changeup on the first pitch because there's nothing to change from. But a good pitch by Lewis.
And a shot to right field. David Murphy coming in, making the catch, and that retires the side. Red Sox lead a runner at second. Josh Hamilton will be up third this inning for Texas, and will return to Boston after a word from your local Fox station. Baseball on Fox, presented by Chevrolet. Dick Stockton along with Tim McCarver. Ken Rosenthal is with us. Chris Rose as well, who handled the pregame shows and the game breaks. And first pitch taken for a ball by Ian Kinsler. Kinsler bounced to Youkilis at third his first time up. And there's a strike. He's been on a hot long ball streak. And Tim, I know you were talking with him in the Rangers clubhouse about the hitting to the opposite field or to center.
Yeah, about becoming perhaps too pull happy. Ian, one of the real pull hitters in the American League. In fact, Ron Washington has continually tried to remind Ian to hit the ball over the center field fence. And sure enough, he did it this week. And I asked Ian, I said, was that the only one you've ever hit to center field or the opposite field? He said, I hit 2 to right field. And that was the first that he's ever hit to center field. That's after 116 major league home runs. He said the first time that he hit one to right field for a home run was in Colorado Springs on a rehab assignment. So he is a real pull hitter. That ball last night hit a ton to left field.
Interesting. It's like Jacoby Ellsbury.
Yeah,
not
that's
going
right.
to the opposite field.
That's exactly right. Jacoby's first one the other night off Boone Logan.
2-2 pitch and a full count now to Kinsler. Bedard threw 14 pitches in the first inning as the Rangers had back-to-back singles, helped out by Young lining into a double play to end the threat, and then 23 pitches thrown by Bedard in the second. Full count to Kinsler, and he takes ball 4. So the second walk of the game issued by Bedard, and Elvis Andrus, who got the first Texas hit in the first inning, will come to the plate.
Great situation to put the runner in motion here. Kinsler with great speed. One of those few guys in the majors who combines power and speed. He has 23 stolen bases. He's been caught only 2 times. Andrus, a contact hitter, ground ball pitcher on the mound. A lot of elements say hit and run here somewhere in these counts.
Pitch is down low and inside. 1-0 to Andrus. Eric Bedard's numbers so far, working here in the third inning. 0-2 with a 3.46 earned run average, making his 6th start, as Tim mentioned, for the Red Sox. He is a 32-year-old left-hander born in Navan, Ontario, near Ottawa, the capital of that province. And what a surprise. He was a hockey player as a youngster.
Surprise, surprise.
1-0 to Andrus with Josh Hamilton on deck for the Rangers. Now it's 2-0 to the Texas shortstop.
It's funny how the counts dictate hit and run. When it's 1-0, you should send the runner. When it's 2-0 or 3-1, you shouldn't.
And now it's 3-0.
Reason for that, Dick, is you want a hitter like Elvis Andrus to really concentrate and not have the runner in motion and demand that he swing the bat. Situation like right now, probably not hitting 3-0, but 3-1, you would not want to send the runner.
And they don't. Pitch taken for a strike, especially since the heart of the order is coming up now with Hamilton and then Young following for Texas. Eric Bedard, before his last start, pitched at Texas, gave up all 4 runs in a 4-0 loss, giving up 7 hits in 6 innings. And ball 4, back-to-back walks, starting things off for the Rangers in the third against Bedard. Chevrolet proudly supports the great game of baseball at all levels. See how they're making kids' baseball dreams come true across the USA at ChevyBaseball.com. Josh Hamilton coming to the plate with 2 on and nobody out. And out to the mound is Saltalamacchia. Dangerous Rangers team leading 1-0, and a big threat here. A personal note about Josh Hamilton. Let's go now to Ken.
Well, Dick, Josh's wife Katie is due to give birth to a baby girl in 2 weeks. It will be their 4th daughter. Julia is 10, Sierra 6, Michaela 3. Josh, though, says that this is it. The couple will not keep trying for a boy. Hey, as it stands, their marriage is quite a success story. Katie stuck with Josh through his addictions, through his relapses, and look at him today. Great career, great family.
And a great guy as he's turned his life around dramatically. And, so you don't have the boys, the girls. Nothing wrong with having the girls as the youngsters. Eh?
Couldn't agree with that more, since I have 2 girls.
There you go. 2 on and nobody out. 1-0 the count to Hamilton. Fouls it away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hamilton with a single, his first timer.
Save the boys for grandchildren, however.
Of course, you've got weddings you got to handle with the two girls, right?
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
Hamilton has hit well in the afternoon, last 5 games.
You wonder, the problem with Josh has been the glare of the sun. There's no glare hitting right now. So right now, even though it may be characterized as a day game, I don't think Josh Hamilton would, because there's no glare with which to put up.
Not only is he in the shadows, but the pitching mound is also in the shadows.
Right.
1 ball and 2 strikes to the Rangers left fielder, who is 5 for 15, including a home run against Bedard. Kinsler, who walked, is at second. Andrews, who also drew a pass, is at first. Nobody out. Rangers in front 1-0. And a good pitch to hit for Hamilton. And it's still 1-2. Kinsler and Andrews, the base runners. And the bat goes flying into the crowd. And Hamilton strikes out. Took something off that pitch. And that's the first out.
Looked like a hanging breaking ball, and Bedard got away with it on that 1-2 count. The first pitch outside, followed by a fastball fouled back. Another one fouled away. Yet another one fouled away. Now the breaking ball gets Hamilton. That was a high breaking ball. Bat in the stands. Everybody appears to be okay.
And that was deep into the first level of the stands. Past the walkway. That'll be almost 25 rows up. Here's Michael Young with 1 out. Swings and gets the base hit into right center field. Kinsler coming around will score. The throw to third base, and not in time as Andrews slides safely at third, and the Rangers take a 2-0 lead. Michael Young with his 90th RBI of the year. And runners at first and third, and still with 1 out.
The irrepressible Michael Young. What a player. What a team man. Good throw by Josh Reddick. Excellent base running by Elvis Andrews, and a good slide to the inside part of the bag. We talked about it during the All-Star game. Baseball is a selfish game. I mean, everybody talks about unselfish players. No unselfish players. When you're up at the plate, you want to try to get a hit. Well, Michael Young puts a different twist on that. He's played 3 different infield positions. They signed Adrian Beltre as their third baseman during this past winter. And Michael Young is a DH, yet another infield position at first base today. The consummate unselfish major league player.
And Beltre, the batter, and he checks swing, foul off to the right. Michael Young, 34 years old, former batting champion. For more, Ken Rosenthal.
Well, guys, Michael Young, the season is that much more remarkable when you consider his age and you consider that he's playing multiple positions for the first time. And we've seen this season Jorge Posada struggle to be a DH, Adam Dunn struggle to be a DH, but Young told me he didn't change a thing. He didn't adapt a routine. He's in the dugout, on every pitch, into the game, and that's why he's had success in that role.
Slow hit ground ball. Youkilis goes over to second. That's the only play as the Rangers get another run across, as Beltre drives in the third run of the game and the second this inning. Andrews comes along and scores, and they get the force, and Beltre is on at first.
You know why they got another run, don't you? Because Elvis Andrews went to third base on that ball that a lot of guys would have stopped at second on. Now you have a weakly hit ball by Beltre, and they get a cheap RBI for the third run.
And that'll bring Mike Napoli to the plate. He hit a slow roller, well handled by Youkilis last inning. So it's 3-0 now in favor of the Rangers, with 2 outs and Beltre the base runner. In the first pitch, a fastball, 1-0 to Napoli. So Beltre coming back and doing damage against his former club. Fastball, and Napoli waves at it. 1 ball and 1 strike. 14-year career for Beltre, and there's that last pitch. One and one. In there for call strike 2. Rangers getting a run last inning on a 2-out single by David Murphy. And now Michael Young with a base hit, making it 2-0, and then Beltre on a fielder's choice, getting the 3rd run in. So for Terry Francona's Red Sox, 10-0 score last night. And after the Yankees won Game 3 to take that series 2-1, they have been outscored by a wide margin in the last 21 innings. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Napoli with 2 outs. And in tight, 61 pitches thrown by Eric Bedard. We're in the 3rd inning, and it's 2-2 to Napoli.
There is less concern for teams after September 1st when they have to go to their bullpen too often, because you can expand the roster, bring up guys that in blowout games like last night, you don't have to expend guys like Papelbon or Daniel Bard, the aces of the Red Sox bullpen.
Red Sox brought only 1 man up, Felix Dubron. So they're not going to fill the clubhouse with other players for the stretch drive. Line drive, left field. Crawford coming over to make the catch. Got a good jump on it, and that'll retire the side. Rangers get 2 in the middle of the 3rd. It's 3-0 Texas. ...2011 MLB postseason on Fox and TBS. It all begins Friday, September 30th with the Division Series on TBS. Dustin Pedroia up for the 2nd time, takes ball 1. Bounce to Beltre at 3rd, his first time up. Pedroia Gonzalez and Youkilis facing Colby Lewis here in the third, with the Red Sox trailing 3-0. 1-1 to Pedroia. Fly ball hit to left center field. Coming over is Hamilton to left center, making the catch for the first out here in the third inning. That'll bring up Adrian Gonzalez, who walked his first time.
Only a matter of time before this Red Sox lineup starts driving in some runs and scoring runs. The last time that they were shut out twice in a row in this ballpark 9 years ago, 2002.
All strike to Gonzalez, and you would think with this batting order, it would be almost unthinkable.
Yep. That perfect balance of right-handed, left-handed power, contact, speed with Ellsbury and Pedroia at the top. One guy they miss is J.D. Drew. Terry Francona telling us before the game we're a better team with him in the lineup, particularly covering right field like he does.
They hope he would return from the disabled list. Originally injured with the left shoulder problem, but a sprained middle finger on his right hand has kept him on the sideline. 2-1 pitch fouled off. More on Drew. The Red Sox sorely would love to get back. Here's Ken.
Well, guys, it's funny. Most fans do not perceive J.D. Drew as a winning player, but the Red Sox want him back for precisely that reason. When he's in right field, he hits the cutoff man, does everything right. Same thing at the plate. If you need to move a runner over, he's the guy. So they feel that if Drew returns, he can make an impact in the postseason.
All right, thank you, Ken. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Adrian Gonzalez framing that pitch outside, and the count is full 3-2.
Well, that cavernous right field is the toughest right field to play in baseball. You have the quirky, pesky pole, the corner down the right field line.
(3-2) and a shot to right field. It's going to be a base hit. David Murphy coming over, and Adrian Gonzalez with a 1-out single. That's the second hit of the game for the Red Sox. It comes with 1 out, with Kevin Youkilis coming up.
Situation where Colby Lewis had to throw a strike. He hangs a slider. And Gonzalez, what a hitter. And what a year he's having. Trying to become the 26th player in Red Sox history to lead the league in hitting.
And left-handed hitters lead the parade without question.
That is so true. Ted Williams, of course, with 6 batting titles. Wade Boggs with 5. Carl Yastrzemski with 3. So 14 of the 25 held by 3 guys. Yaz, Teddy Ballgame, and Wade Boggs.
Going after it was Youkilis, 1 ball and 1 strike. Youkilis trying to get his timing back after coming off the disabled list. There is the swing and a miss there. He's 0 for 3 last night, striking out twice. And 0 for 1 so far today, but he is so much more effective with runners on base.
Yeah, he's jumping at the ball right now. One of the signs that a player's been on the DL for a while. Come back off the DL and your timing's messed up, and that's one of the worst things you can do is jump at the ball, because hitting is waiting and having quick hands, the 2 essential elements in good hitters' playbook.
1 ball, 2 strikes. You saw David Ortiz waiting on deck. There is Big Poppy. Whoever anticipated that David Ortiz would return to the glory numbers that he achieved several years ago when it looked like he was slipping. But he's as solid as he ever was. And Youkilis chases and strikes out for the second out here in the third.
The slider off the plate away. And Uke does not look good at the plate. And understandably, he's been out for a while. It's going to take some time.
2 strikeouts for Colby Lewis, and here's Ortiz, who walked his first time up. Lewis struggling with his control in the first inning. Walked the bases loaded, but got Lowry with the final out. Red Sox with a runner in scoring position in the second couldn't score. Now they have a man on at first and Gonzalez with 2 down, and the count 1-0 to Ortiz. Here's the shift.
When's the last time you saw a shift for a right-handed hitter?
That's a good point. Right now, Andrews is playing behind the bag, as you saw, shaded toward first, and Kinsler playing almost shallow right field.
The first shift, I believe, was employed by Lou Boudreau back in 1949 against Ted Williams. In fact, Ted Williams told me in 1986 that Ty Cobb came to the hotel where they were staying in New York at the Commodore Hotel and told him how to break the shift by hitting the ball the other way. Williams said, I tried it for about 4 games and then said, nah, I'll hit it through him. And he did.
You'd love to have Ted Williams try to do something that he was used to doing.
That was Boudreau's point. He said he's going to get his hits. He's going to hit the home run. It's more of a psychological thing than anything. Joe Madden of the Tampa Bay Rays tells us that. From a psychological standpoint, it's a lot tougher. But it's amazing that there are no right-handed hitting shifts in the major leagues.
Getting the green light on 3-0 was Ortiz. It's 3 balls and a strike. And I'm willing to make a small wager that the Commodore Hotel no longer exists in New York.
You got it. 42nd and Lex. It is now under another name.
And another name, and has been under yet another name maybe over the. There you see most career home runs, and a shot base hit to right field by Ortiz on the 3-1 pitch. Gonzalez will stop at second. So David Ortiz, after getting the green light on 3-0, fouling it off, has the second hit of the inning for the Red Sox. Runners at first and second, 2 out. Jed Lowry coming up.
Well, Ted Williams said, forget about it, I'll hit it through them. And that's what David Ortiz does. I'll just hit it through them, and he did.
Forget about the shift. I'll just drive it by Michael Young. And that's what Ortiz did. So he's been on base twice today with a walk and a single. Here's Lowry, who ended the first inning by hitting a line drive right at Kinsler, the second baseman. So he's the tying run at the plate for the Red Sox and takes a fastball for strike 1. Rangers lead 3-0. Run in the second, 2 more in the top of the third. And the Red Sox trying to climb back here in the last of the third. Gonzalez at second. There's Ortiz at first. And a call strike 2 now to Lowry. So Lowry in a 0-2 hole here against Colby Lewis, who has struck out 2 and walked 3 and has allowed 3 hits, all to right field. Ball getting away from Torrealba, no advance. And it's 1-2.
That was a good play by Torrealba. Looked like a slider biting in and off the heel of the glove, and Torrealba recovers quickly. Good play.
That's a veteran backstop. Huh?
Yes, sir.
11 years. First season with Texas. Rangers are his 5th team.
Signed originally by the team that beat the Rangers last year in the World Series, the Giants.
Staying alive is Lowry, and it's remains 1-2 to the Red Sox shortstop. After the series with the Rangers, the Red Sox will play 4 at Toronto and 3 at Tampa Bay. Then they'll be home for 10. They finish with 3 at New York against the Yankees and 3 at Baltimore. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and you don't want to talk and you don't want to hear about a schedule advantage if you're playing a weaker team down the stretch.
No, you really don't. There have been too many traps through the years of once we get by the good teams. For instance, the Rangers play the Red Sox tomorrow, then they play 3 at Tampa Bay. Then we have teams that are under 500. That's a trap.
A big one that makes their year to knock you off. That pitch is low.
There's an old saying in baseball, Dick, that in September, when you're a contender, there's no such thing as playing a second division team.
Right.
They're all first place teams, and that's the way you have to approach it.
You saw Crawford waiting if Lowry can get on. Gonzalez at second, Ortiz at first. 3 balls and 2 strikes, and the runners will be off on the pitch. There they go, the 3-2 pitch, and a base hit up the middle by Lowry. Gonzalez will score. Ortiz goes to third, and the Red Sox are on the board. It's 3-1 Texas, and for Lowry, his 30th run batted into the year. Scoring Gonzalez.
That might be the only way to score Gonzalez in that situation on a hard hit ball to the outfield is have him running. And with the 3-2 count, 2 out, of course they are. And Big Papi goes to third base from first. So that a very advantageous count, 3-2 with slow runners on the bases.
So it's a 3-1 game. And Jed Lowry delivering. Came off the disabled list on August the 8th after missing games with a shoulder strain. Mike Maddox, who came out of the dugout, now trots back in, and Carl Crawford will be the hitter. Fly to Hamilton in left his first time up.
Now, Dick, we talked about it early in this half inning that it's really impossible to hold this lineup down for long. I mean, you do it for 11 2/3 innings. You've done a great job.
Crawford trying to slap it the other way. 0-1 to Crawford, who drove in 5 runs, by the way, tying a career high the last time the Red Sox played the Rangers in Texas back on August the 24th. Just about a week ago. Ortiz at third, Lowry at first. Check swing, and they appeal, and it's a strike as Rob Drake, the third base umpire, indicates Crawford swung.
Well, we talked about how Kevin Youkilis was jumping at the ball. So is Carl Crawford. That's one of the common things when guys are not seeing the ball well. They're committing themselves too quickly. And Carl has been doing that for the better part of the year.
Runners at the corners with 2 outs. Run in, and a fake throw to third. And the third baseman, Beltre, was playing about 15 feet off the bag.
He and David Ortiz are laughing about it now. And what else are you going to do? I mean, how many times have you seen David Ortiz try to steal home when the pitcher was in the stretch?
Or steal home, period. Big Papi joking with Tim Bogart, the third base coach for the Red Sox. Two strikes to Carl Crawford. 1-2 now to the outfielder. There's the pitch count for Colby Lewis. You mentioned the shutout. They won't obviously get 2 in a row here, but the Rangers tying a club record with their 17th shutout of the season last night. And Crawford strikes out to end the threat, but the Red Sox get a run and lead 2 on after 3-1 Texas. Play is sponsored by AT&T, Rethink Possible, and by Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. Temperature in the 80s here on a Labor Day weekend in Boston. And the bottom third of the Rangers order facing Eric Bedard here in the top of the fourth inning. Yorvi Torrealba. First pitch in the gap left center field, and it's going to go off the wall. Retrieved by Ellsbury, and Torrealba with a leadoff double. And the first extra base hit of the game for the Rangers.
Torrealba getting a fastball outside part of the plate and doubles the left center.
That is the fifth hit of the game for Texas. They have had at least a hit in every inning thus far. And here's David Murphy, who had a big one in the second inning when he drove in the first run for the Rangers with 2 out. Lowry trying to keep Torrealba as close to second as possible. 1-0 to Murphy. You know, Tim, the way these teams are so proficient at the plate, answering runs is like a commonplace thing, perhaps. Texas getting 2 in the top of the third, the Red Sox answering, and the Rangers trying to answer that one here with Torrealba with the leadoff double. Missing again. And it's 3-0.
That's one of the things that a starting pitcher, or the pitcher who's in the game at the time, can kind of cushion. If his team scores a run or two, go out there and try to prevent it and get some momentum built. Some momentum builded.
And making the play unassisted to get Murphy is Gonzalez, and Torrealba goes to third. You build it, they will come, is what people say. Caught up with Ron Washington, the manager of the Rangers, and asked him his impressions of Colby Lewis so far.
So far, he's certainly been threatened every inning he's been out there, and he's been able to make a pitch when he had to. And we're hoping that when he go back out there for the fourth inning, he can find a groove and have some quick outs, because they certainly building his pitch count up.
And along those same lines, Ron, Alex Ogando will not start on Monday at Tampa Bay?
No, he won't. We're going to give that start to Feldman and give Ogando a little break here, and he'll be ready for his next one.
All right, Ron, good luck. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Ron.
All right.
And a suicide squeeze attempt with Gentry at the plate. Torrealba charging, and the pitch was fouled off.
Last night's game, first and second, his first time up. Gentry sacrificed the runners. A bit of a surprise in the second inning. And here tonight on the first pitch, a squeeze attempt. Torrealba trying to score. The one thing you try not to do if you're the runner at third base is leave too soon, because if you do, the pitcher can throw a pitch out or hit the runner, throw at the runner. One thing about a squeeze play, you rarely see a manager do it twice in a row if the first one fails.
Red Sox have their infield in all the way around. 0-1 to Gentry, who fly to center, and the pitch out just in case.
That's the one thing you talk about as from a catcher's standpoint. You don't pitch out after an attempted squeeze, because very few managers will try it 2 pitches in a row. Now, there are some that are unorthodox, but generally not a good play.
1-1. And here comes the runner, and there's the bunt, and Gonzalez has it. And the tag is put on Torrealba for the double play. So the Red Sox were wary about it. They had the pitch out, and then they tried the squeeze again and easily doubled off as Torrealba. Second double play by the Red Sox, and they escape damage here in the fourth inning, trailing 3-1. leading 3-1 here, and the Red Sox batting in the bottom of the fourth. Josh Reddick taking a strike. Reddick double to right.
It's a little tougher for that suicide squeeze with the infield in, because a guy like Adrian Gonzalez, who is cheating toward home plate, can make a catch on a ball that normally would fall. If the infield was back, they'd be back. So Torrealba, not breaking too soon, is a dead duck at home plate, trying to get out of the way of Adrian, but no chance.
Base hit for Reddick to center field. He's 2 for 2, following up on his double in the second inning. And the Red Sox have the leadoff man on, and the tying run coming to the plate, Jared Saltalamacchia, who struck out his first time up. You brought up a very interesting thing. The thing about baseball, you may see something that you've never seen before, and you pointed it out during the break. 2 unassisted double plays by the first baseman in the first 4 innings.
I mean, here it is, 4 innings, 2 unassisted double plays, both by Adrian Gonzalez. That is a rarity to see 2 unassisted double plays by a first baseman over a week or a month.
Saltalamacchia. And the switch hitting catcher takes ball 1. Rangers lead 3-1. Each team has wrapped out 5 hits thus far. Reddick, who's on first, has 2 of the 5 hits for Boston. Big cut by Saltalamacchia, and it's 1-1.
Big cut, big swing. I mean, when you're 6'5", it's very difficult to have a short, compact swing. Sometimes you're handicapped by your size in baseball. Saltalamacchia, from a catcher standpoint, he's very tall. From a hitter standpoint, it takes him a long time to unravel. Makes the game tougher.
13 home runs, a career high for Saltalamacchia. He hit 11 as a rookie back in 2007. He's had single season career bests in runs batted in, doubles and triples. He and Jason Varitek handling the catching duties for the Red Sox, and it seems to be working out.
Gotten 23 home runs out of that position. Remarkable.
2-1, and diving back is Reddick.
I'll tell you, and it was a very shrewd move on the Red Sox part last year at the trading deadline to get insurance in Saltalamacchia, just in case Victor Martinez signs as a free agent elsewhere. He did with Detroit, and now they've got a major league catcher to go along with Varitek.
And a former Texas Ranger fouls the pitch off, and it's 2-2. Saltalamacchia began with the Atlanta Braves in 2007 and then traded to Texas later that year. Two balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Josh Reddick with the leadoff single. We have not had a 1-2-3 inning by either pitcher in this game. Chopped, and it's a foul ball. As first base umpire Bruce Dreckman right on that.
Michael Young was in fair territory. No, he wasn't. He stepped on the line, but that ball was foul anyway.
Yankees defeated the Toronto Blue Jays 6-4 earlier, so they opened up a 1-game lead over the Red Sox coming into this one. Winner captures the AL East, and the loser very likely will be the wild card. More than likely, you would say at this point. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Framing that pitch was Torrealba, to no avail. Full count now to Saltalamacchia with Jacoby Ellsbury on deck. Lewis giving up a run on 5 hits. He has walked 3 and struck out 3. And a fly ball hit to right field. David Murphy back looking up, it's gone. Jared Saltalamacchia with a 2-run homer ties the game at 3-3. Home run number 14.
Dick, you hear that expression a lot, a slider speed bat. That's really, it comes from a guy with a long swing. We talked about how Saltalamacchia, 6'5", that was a slider, middle of the plate. That was after that very close 2-2 pitch that Torrealba wanted. You talked about him framing that pitch. That is the difference in a 3-1 game and a 3-3 game right now.
And you were talking about how the catchers have been run producers for the Red Sox, and they continue to do it. 24 home runs between the two, and pitch taken for a ball by Ellsbury, 1-1. Ellsbury walked and fly to center. Nobody out. Crowd still buzzing over that 2-run homer to tie the game. And bullpen activity. Tateyama in the Texas bullpen. Three balls and a strike. And a line drive, left field. Hamilton is there for the first out in the fourth.
Here was that 2-2 pitch from Colby Lewis. On the 2-2 pitch to Saltalamacchia. Rangers wanted that pitch, but as you see, it was low. And on the 3-2 pitch, given new life, Saltalamacchia ties the ball game up.
One out, Dustin Pedroia, 0 for 2 this afternoon. Ball one. Peel to Bruce Dreckman at first. 1-0 the count to Pedroia. On deck is Adrian Gonzalez. 87 pitches for Colby Lewis here in the fourth inning, and this is popped up behind the plate. Torrealba watches it go out of play. By the way, the home run by Saltalamacchia was the 32nd homer given up by Colby Lewis, increasing his lead of giving up the most homers in the league. And there's a shot, base hit over Andrews' stretch, and Dustin Pedroia with a one-out single, third hit of the inning for the Red Sox, and that'll bring Adrian Gonzalez to the plate. Gonzalez has been on twice today, and here comes Washington to the mound. He's had Yoshinori Tateyama warming up in the bullpen.
Yeah, it's a move that Ron doesn't want to make, but he's just got to.
And we'll take a break as Colby Lewis works into the fourth. One out. We'll be back. Played for the Red Sox, and it's been a dominating year for him, leading in batting, in hits, fourth in RBIs, and fourth in extra base hits. And he'll be facing the new pitcher Yoshinori Tateyama, 35-year-old right-hander in his first year in this country. Pitched Wednesday and did well against Tampa Bay in an inning and a third, but gave up 6 runs in 2 prior outings.
After 11 seasons in Japan, this is a very difficult hitter for this pitcher. The reason for that, he tries to keep everything away, and Gonzalez has such power the other way. That's one of the reasons they got him. Power here at Fenway is lethal for a left-handed batter.
Pedroia, who singled with 1 out and knocked Lewis out after Reddick led off this 4th inning with a base hit up the middle, and then Jared Saltalamacchia with a 2-run homer to tie the game 3-3.
Tateyama really doesn't have a pitch that he can bury inside to Adrian Gonzalez, and a pitcher is really handicapped when he can't do that because of Gonzalez's power the other way.
1-0 to Gonzalez, and the breaking pitch missing outside. Interesting how the middle infielders are bunched together.
Looking for the double play. That's what you really have to do with a guy like Gonzalez. Hope to get a ground ball at somebody.
Beltre really wide of third. 2 balls, no strikes. Red Sox come back to tie it up here in the 4th inning. And the ball off the glove of Torrealba, and Pedroia will advance to second.
I would imagine that's a pass ball. And you know what I think, Dick? I think baseball should do away with pass balls. I think when a catcher drops the ball like that or it gets by him, what formerly would be ruled a pass ball should be an error. If an infielder drops the ball, it's an error. When a catcher, I mean, it's the only position where there's something other than an error when the ball hits the glove and plops out.
And it's a good point because the runner does advance when that happens.
And it does not deter a catcher's defensive percentage. Pass balls don't count against that. So you could have 20 pass balls and no errors and lead the league in defensive.
You know, the catcher's union's going to come down hard on you.
Oh, I would imagine.
You know,
listen,
and I know you're worried about that.
They would have come down hard on me before.
Here's Kevin Youkilis after Gonzalez walked.
Not worried about that.
So runners at first and second with 1 away, and Youkilis fouled out to Young, the first baseman, and struck out. So it's righty against righty here, and the pitch is in for a strike. Not going to take any chances with the left-handed power hitter. There is Pedroia at second, Gonzalez at first with 1 away. Red Sox have driven Colby Lewis from the mound. Here in the 4th inning, they were trailing 3-1. 2-run homer by Saltalamacchia tied it up. And the Red Sox looking to take the lead. 1-1 to Youkilis. Ortiz on deck. Red Sox have now out-hit the Rangers 7-5. Two best hitting teams in the American League on display today. 2 teams that have scored the most runs. And time called, and Torrealba going to the mound. Get the signal straight. Two runners on, 1 out, and stepping off and bluffing to second, but again, no Ranger was covering second to keep Pedroia close. Rolled it past Ron Johnson. the Red Sox first base coach. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Youkilis. Youkilis hitting cleanup on Ortiz, batting 5th, and Terry Francona said that you may see a reversal of that at some point in the upcoming weeks, where
it would make sense with Youkilis struggling, a mini slump since coming off the DL.
Rangers have improved their bullpen. Question is, can they get the big outs here from Tateyama here in the 4th inning? Another good catch made by a fan in the stands. That's a deflection, and it counts as a putout.
It's not a pass ball.
No. They have sold out Fenway Park now 701 consecutive times.
And interestingly, the first of that streak was against the Rangers back on May 15th, 2003. Remarkable.
Tateyama's 1-2 pitch, and it's in the air to left field. Josh Hamilton coming over and makes the play for out number 2. So Youkilis is retired, and that'll bring Big Papi to the plate. He's been aboard twice with a walk and a single.
Tell you, at that at bat, those are pitches that Kevin Youkilis is not used to missing. 2 hanging breaking balls. And Youkilis was talking about coming back. One of the writers asked if he was 100%. He said, well, I'm 100% for September. That means I'm about 80%. He said nobody is 100% in September, that everybody aches somewhere, and he's right on that.
And he's ached most of the year. He's had problems with his ankle, his shins, his hips. He's been a true warrior for the Red Sox. First pitch low and outside to Ortiz, 1-0. 2 outs, Pedroia at second, Gonzalez at first. Red Sox tying the score, 3-3 here in the 4th.
This is another difficult matchup for Tateyama to try to get David Ortiz out. Same situation with Gonzalez up there, because Ortiz has such power the other way.
And the pitch is outside. And the Red Sox have Mike Aviles on deck. And if Ortiz keeps it alive, Aviles would pinch hit for Jed Lowry. Two 2-0 to Ortiz. And there's a called strike. You wonder how effective a sidearmer, right-hander, is against the left-handed hitter.
That's a very good point and a good question. Because the problem with that is the more sidearm you are, the more fine you have to be on the outside part of the plate. And again, you can't come inside.
Get there, the ball getting away from Torrealba, and the runners will advance, and Pedroia will hold it third. So it's been a rough inning for Torrealba, as this pitch off of his glove, and runners advance.
Well, the only time you come inside is when you don't want to. You could see Torrealba sitting outside. The ball actually hit the right leg of the umpire, and now you're forced into walking David Ortiz again. So you intentionally walk Gonzalez. Ortiz.
And that'll go as a wild pitch. And the pitch inside Torrealba, everything he could do to get a glove on it. And now Ortiz walks, and the bases are loaded. And going to the mound is Mike Maddox. And Mike Aviles will come up and pitch it for Jed Lowry with the bases loaded. Well, only 5 days until the NFL season gets underway. Create your fantasy football team today at foxsports.com/fantasy. It's not too late, and it's easy to set up your league or to join a public league. Sign up today at foxsports.com/fantasy. So a word from the pitching coach. as Aviles hitting .243, 5 homers and 32 runs batted in, batting for Jed Lowry. Aviles picked up from the Royals on July the 30th. Big opportunity to untie this game. Pedroia is at third, Gonzalez at second, Ortiz at first, and the breaking ball is over, strike one.
We have Terry Francona on during the break, and it'll be interesting to ask him about Ted Lowry and see if anything's wrong with Ted. A lot of injuries this year.
Holds up, and it's 1-1. Red Sox with the bases loaded and 2 out. They've already scored 2 to tie it up here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Inside, Torrealba really having to work this half inning. Tateyama in relief of Colby Lewis. 35-year-old right-hander. The 2-1, and it's 3-1 now. No place to put Aviles. Anxious moments in the Rangers dugout, and with 3-1 and 2 out, or with Crawford on deck. No place to put Mike Aviles, and swings it up, base hit to right field, and they're going to hold Crawford at third. Scoring is Pedroia as Aviles delivers a pinch hit single, and the Red Sox take a 4-3 lead. The bases remain loaded. RBI for Aviles.
David Murphy with a very strong arm and right field. Fine piece of hitting by Mike Aviles. And the Red Sox have the lead for the first time in this game. No way can you send Gonzalez in that situation.
And Valdez warming up in the bullpen for the Rangers. And here's Crawford, the 9th batter to come up for the Red Sox here in the 4th. He's 0 for 2, flied out and struck out against Colby Lewis. Missing outside, ball 1. So Merkin Valdez warming up. On at third is Gonzalez. Ortiz at second, and Aviles, who pinch hit for Jed Lowry and delivered a base hit. Red Sox lead 4-3. And a fly ball hit to right field. David Murphy going back near the wall. It's gone. A grand slam homer for Crawford. Crawford off to a woeful start this year, coming over from the Tampa Bay Rays, has hit his 11th home run now with 52 runs batted in.
Well, the third left-hander in this inning, faced by Tateyama. 2 intentional walks and a grand slam home run on a high breaking ball.
And that'll be all for Tateyama. 2 home runs this inning, accounting for 6 runs. And the Red Sox get 7 and lead it 8-3. Sox have sent 9 batters to the plate, have scored 7 runs, 2 homers, 5 hits, 2 walks. We've had a pass ball and a wild pitch thrown in as well. And Merkian Valdez has come in to pitch, made his Rangers debut last night with a scoreless 8th inning, and will face Josh Reddick, who started this 4th inning with a single to center field. 1-0 the count.
Dick, you mentioned that pass ball and wild pitch. Those were 2 important pass ball and wild pitch because they prompted the Rangers to have to walk Gonzalez and Ortiz in the process.
Absolutely right. And then not much margin for error then.
No.
With the bases loaded on those occasions. 2 balls and no strikes to Reddick, who's 2 for 2. And a strike. 2 balls and a strike. So for Carl Crawford, that was his 4th career Grand Slam home run and his 1st since joining the Red Sox. And now it is 3-1 to Reddick.
It's the first Fenway wave I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Normally see the wave here.
Better with an 8-3 lead.
Oh, yeah. Waves are only.
Base hit to right field. Reddick has 2 hits here in this 4th inning. And Saltalamacchia coming to the plate. He tied the game with a 2-run homer earlier here in this inning.
I was going to say, you never see a wave by the home crowd when their team is losing. Ever. Waves are happy. That's the connotation, right?
If you do, they haven't been paying attention.
No. Or it's a blowout. It's 19-1.
And what are we going to do now? 1-0 to Saltalamacchia, who struck out and hit the 2-run homer off of Colby Lewis to tie the score. And Torrealba out to the mound to talk to Valdez. Here's the home run from earlier this inning.
3-2 slider from Colby Lewis, and that tied the ball game up. A lot has happened since then.
1-0 to Saltalamacchia, facing Valdez, the 29-year-old right-hander from the Dominican. And a ground ball, base hit to center field. And rounding second, going to third is Reddick. And Saltalamacchia has his 2nd hit of the inning. Runners are at 1st and 3rd. And Mike Maddox coming to the mound. And here it is.
Hit off the end of the bat, so he had 1 good, 1 bad, 2 hits in this inning. How about the bottom of the order for the Red Sox? They have 6 RBIs on the night, including a 2-run shot and a grand slam by Carl Crawford. 7, 8, 9 hitters producing tonight.
Pretty good inning for Saltalamacchia, Ken Rosenthal.
Notice since the start of spring training, he's down about 15 pounds from his weight of 240. I asked him why, and obviously the grind of catching is one reason, but also he takes Adderall, which is a medication, of course, for attention deficit disorder. He has an exemption from Major League Baseball to take it. He actually took Ritalin when he was a kid, but his parents took him off it. His grades were getting better, but his baseball was getting worse.
Interesting. Thank you, Ken. Here's Jacoby Ellsbury. 0 for 2 with a 1st inning walk. Runners at 1st and 3rd, 2 down, and 1-0 the count.
Tell you, it is a rarity to see a catcher gain weight during the season. If you catch 60 to 140 games, you're going to lose weight, and a lot of weight generally.
And there goes the runner from first. The pitch taken outside for ball 2. And the steal by Saltalamacchia. So runners now at 2nd and 3rd with 2 out. And the Red Sox with Ellsbury at the plate, the 12th man to come up against 3 different Ranger pitchers here in the 4th. Fastball, and it's 2-1.
That, by the way, does not mean that I'm advocating the catcher's diet. for all of you folks listening to be a catcher if you want to lose weight. Don't do that.
How many catchers need to lose weight?
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's that catcher's diet. You're going to lose weight if you're behind the plate, but I'm not advocating that folks do that.
It is a way of life. And don't put on the equipment if you do try it at home. Ellsbury swings and misses 2-2.
Gosh.
One thing to crouch that many times, but to put on the shin guards and the protector and the mask.
Tough way to make a living or to lose weight.
Well, I don't know if you lost weight when you played, but you made a pretty good living. Strikes, 2 outs. 2 runners in scoring position and a slow hit ball. Ellsbury going to beat it out. A run scores, and the Red Sox now lead 9-3 with an infield hit by Jacoby Ellsbury. Going to third is Salta Lamacchia as Reddick comes across with the 8th run here in the 4th.
And they have plated those 8 in many, many different ways. Grand slam, infield hit, 2-run homer. Valdez, his first run given up in the major leagues.
So Pedroia up for the second time this inning. He is the 13th hitter to come to the plate, and he singled, advanced on a pass ball and then a wild pitch, as Tim mentioned, creating intentional walk situations for 2 Red Sox left-handed sluggers. And 1 strike to Pedroia. He's 1 for 3 with a single and came around and scored 1 of the 8 runs here. Ellsbury with the lead at first. Salta Lamacchia had his first career stolen base, is at third. 9-3, the Red Sox in front. One and one. Lights have been on here. You still have a bit of sunlight out where the right field bleachers and right field stands are, but not much, and no longer can you call this a day game. Here's the 1-1 pitch, 2-1 to Dustin Pedroia. Colby Lewis worked 3 1/3 innings. Believe it or not, he worked earlier here. It may seem eons ago, but he did start this inning. Gave up 4 runs, 7 hits, and the home run to Salta Lamacchia. Then Yoshinori Tateyama came in and he was tagged. Now Merkin Valdez trying to close the door, but it hasn't been easy for the Ranger pitchers today. Ellsbury is back. Two balls and a strike. And a foul ball out of play. What a 4th inning.
Wow.
I don't think Terry Francona minds that it's gone 36 minutes.
No.
Of course, Eric Bedard has had a long rest on the bench. But when the Red Sox came up here in the bottom of the 4th, they were trailing 3-1, and now they lead by 6. Ground ball right at Beltre, and that will do it. But the Red Sox, 8 runs on 8 hits, 2 home runs. Jared Salta Lamacchia with a 2-run homer that tied it up. And then Carl Crawford with the grand slam home run. The big blows for the Red Sox, who lead 9-3. Mike Aviles is the new shortstop for the Red Sox. He pinch hit and delivered a big single in that fourth inning. Ian Kinsler leading off, and the count now 1-1 to Kinsler, who has bounced out and walked and scored a run. And now 1-2 to Kinsler. He'll be followed by Andrews and Hamilton. And it's fouled back, still 1-2. Mark Hamburger is now up in the Ranger bullpen. The 1-2 from Bedard, and strike three. Bedard with his third strikeout, and there's one gone in the fifth inning. And we talked with Terry Francona, and just coming off the luxury of a big inning for his team.
Well, it's a better inning to talk to than an inning to go for sure.
What's the story with Jed Lowry? He was pinch hit for. Is there a problem?
Yeah, that shoulder it got a little tight on him and a little bit weak, and you know he went on the DL because of it for a while. We just don't want it to act up and have him miss a month where maybe he only has to miss a game or two.
Terry, how long are you going with Eric Bedard?
As long as he gets him out. You know, again, we've certainly tried to keep him around 100, 105, maybe 110, but it'll be up until as long as he's getting him out, he can pitch.
Thanks,
all right, Terry. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys.
Appreciate it. 9-3 lead for Terry Francona and Kurt Young, the pitching coach, and Bedard now with a 6-run lead, looking for his first win as a Red Sox pitcher. And there's a call strike to Andrews. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out with Josh Hamilton on deck.
Well, the lineup certainly has done their part so far. 9 runs on 12 hits in 4 innings for the Sox. today. And again, Dick, you just cannot hold this lineup down for long. And going into the postseason, that's what either the Yankees or the Tigers or the Rangers are going to have to decide. If you're going to play with these guys, you're going to have to outscore them.
It's amazing that this is the 8th time that the Red Sox have scored 8 or more runs in an inning this year.
Man.
Calls third strike, and Bedard punching out Kinsler and Andrews back to back. Well, this November, Fox Sports steps into the octagon with an epic heavyweight title fight as the #1 ranked contender in the world, Junior Dos Santos, squares off with undefeated world champion Cain Velasquez in the must-see live mixed martial arts event you can only catch on Fox. Dos Santos and Velasquez for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World live Saturday, November 12th on Fox. And don't forget, on September 24th, it's light heavyweight champion John Bones Jones against former champion Quinton Rampage Jackson, only on pay-per-view.
John Bones Jones.
Yeah,
all right.
It rhymes.
That's what I'm talking about.
2 down to Josh Hamilton, who has singled and struck out. 4 strikeouts in the game for Eric Bedard. And foul out of play, and if Bedard can dispose of Hamilton, it'll be the first 1-2-3 inning we've had in this game for either team. 0-2 to Josh Hamilton. Red Sox this year scored 10 runs in 1 inning. And a fly ball center field. Going back is Ellsbury on the warning track. Makes the catch. Deep drive, but Ellsbury catches up with it. A 1-2-3 inning for Bedard. And in the middle of the 5th, the Red Sox in front 9-3. Sponsored by Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball across the country. And the Red Sox coming up and will face the 4th pitcher of the day, Mark Hamburger, who made his big league debut Wednesday and pitched a perfect 9th inning against the Rays. He'll be facing Adrian Gonzalez, Kevin Youkilis, and David Ortiz, the scheduled hitters, here in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Red Sox sending 13 to the plate last inning, scoring 8 runs on 8 hits, including 2 home runs. Saltalamacchia's 2-run drive and Carl Crawford's grand slam homer. His first in a Red Sox uniform. 1-0. The count to Gonzalez. And on base 3 times today is Gonzalez with a single and 2 walks and has scored twice. One and one. And it's 1-2 now. I wanted to ask you your thought. You know, Gonzalez was in the home run hitting contest before the All-Star game, and I wonder whether that gets sometimes home run hitters a little bit out of sync because he had a drought a little bit.
I'm not too sure. But I mean, I think that's food for thought. There are a lot of guys who don't do that because they don't want to mess up their swing, or they get tired, or they get injured. You pull a rib cage muscle or something like that. I don't think too much is made of that. I think there's something to it, and I think guys who don't participate in the home run hitting contest have a point.
I mean, you're going there for the express purpose of hitting home runs, and you get into that kind of a groove.
That's right. And Adrian Gonzalez has proven he's not that type of hitter because he hits the ball the other way a lot. I don't really have the numbers on how many hits he has to left field since the All-Star break. But I would imagine that the first half of the season, before the home run hitting contest, he had more.
Youkilis with a pop foul, and it will go out of play. So Gonzalez striking out, and the count 2 strikes to Youkilis.
You know, you can take a look at different hitters, Dick. I mean, it's pretty easy to see without going to the numbers. If you're experienced observer of baseball, that Kevin Youkilis is jumping at the ball and has some things wrong. The same thing with Adrian Gonzalez. You know, for instance, he ended the game the other night on a cutter from Mariano Rivera. And I'll guarantee you that Adrian Gonzalez is not the type of hitter to end the game on taking a called third strike. So, I mean, you know, you don't know exactly whether there's something to that, but there could be.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Kevin Youkilis.
Certainly a legitimate question.
Because there was, coincidentally or not, a drought for him.
Yep. Right.
In the weeks following.
That's right.
That contest, and foul at the plate, so Youkilis stays alive. The count remains 2-2 with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Red Sox in front 9-3. Mark Hamburger, the 24-year-old from Minnesota, 8-4 in the minor leagues with a 3.39 earned run average. Undrafted, signed by the Twins after an open tryout.
Yeah, I mean, how odd is that? Yeah. I mean, he was not a drafted player. You don't see too many American players undrafted and signed at an open tryout because you figured the scouting system would have seen this guy as he filtered through the ranks.
A line shot, and Beltre goes high to make the play for the second out. Time now for a DirecTV game break. Here's Chris Rose.
All right, Dick, a crazy game on the north side of Chicago. Tied at 3 in the 7th. Alfonso Soriano brings 2 in. 5-3 Cubbies and a 91-minute rain delay. Same score in the 9th. Bases loaded. Derek Lee, the former Cub, off of his ex-teammate Carlos Marmol, who blew his NL worst 10th save. 7-5. Pirates take it. Cubs fall 21 games under 500, guys.
And, Chris, that's why they're in the market for new people at the helm. Mike Quaddy in his first year as manager of that team, and Jim Hendry, interesting, was told that he was not going to be around, and it was not announced for several weeks.
Told on July 23rd, I believe, that he would not be coming back, and the Cubs wanted him to handle the draft, or not the draft, but the trading deadline, things like that, and he did.
Well, a 1-2-3 inning, first time that the Red Sox have been retired in order. We've completed 5. Stand Up to Cancer and their work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. Stand up for someone you love. Visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports to learn more. And Michael Young leading off in the 6th inning for the Rangers, and you're holding a baseball here in your hand.
Yeah, number one, it's nice to be a part of Stand Up to Cancer, but I guess it's nice if you're a part of the Fenway faithful to receive a ball, and that was given out to every fan in attendance last night to celebrate the 700th consecutive sellout that they've had in this ballpark, dating back to May 15th, 2003. Unbelievable, really, when you think about it.
Longest in Major League history.
Yeah, right.
Foul ball by Young, and the count now 1-2 strikes. In fact, interesting, Terry Francona, the manager, and he's not just a dugout manager, let's win. He says, I really don't take it for granted that we've had all these sellouts, because I've been in places where there is apathy and people don't show up, and and we see it in certain places.
Sure. And
it's an electric atmosphere, and I think everyone who comes to the Red Sox sees sellouts every night, or every day and night, and it's a great testimony. When season tickets go on sale, it's not a case of, let's go see the Yankees and that's it.
And do they ever treat their players right? You hear that expression, these guys are rock stars, and they're treated like it.
Michael Young, how about the number of hits he's had in the last several years? Strike 3, and Michael Young is out. Well, talking about charities, I know that Ken Rosenthal has a bow tie each week for a different charity. What is it this week, Ken?
That's right, Dick. This one is for the Pavlov Foundation. That's an organization that fights children's cancer. And I spoke with Tim Wakefield in an interview with him before the game that is going to be on FoxSports.com. Actually, is on FoxSports.com right now. And he talks about the Jimmy Fund, an organization here in New England, strong ties to the Red Sox, also an anti-cancer organization.
And a big one at that. It's the Red Sox Fund, and this was the week that they had the major telethon. And I'm not sure what the final totals were. They were well over $3 million the last time I looked, and a great response by everyone. 1 out, and the count now 2 strikes to Adrian Beltre.
Kind of get goosebumps when you think about and talk about the Jimmy Fund, and you think about how long it's been going on here in New England, Dick. I mean, Ted Williams was one of the biggest contributors to that, its popularity, since the late 40s, early 50s. Teddy ball game was more about the ball game than just on the field and between the lines. And a lot of people, unfortunately, didn't know that until much later.
Well, the ones that really care about those things never want it publicized.
That's right.
And we understand more than $3.3 million were contributed, as Dan Wheeler working in the Red Sox bullpen. 1 out, 1-2 strikes. And Beltre is out on strikes. So Eric Bedard has struck out 4 the last 5 he has faced. Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers. And by Michelin, a better way forward. Two down to Mike Napoli, who was grounded out and lined to Crawford in left field. Eric Bedard looking stronger as the game goes on, and staked to a 6-run lead.
He's pitching to the score now, too. He's throwing a lot more fastballs. And sure enough, striking out 4 of the last 5 batters, all on fastballs.
He has 6 strikeouts, all told. Took something off that one and misses. 2-0. Texas Rangers, of course, fighting the loss of Nelson Cruz, their prolific hitting outfielder, who will be gone for at least 3 weeks with a grade 1 strained hamstring. 28 home runs, and that's a big gap in their lineup.
Really is. Similar injury to Adrian Beltre.
3-0 the count to Napoli. and he walks on 4 pitches. Ken Rosenthal, Nelson Cruz going to be missed.
Well, Dick, they're going to be careful with him because, of course, Beltre re-aggravated his hamstring when he had that injury. Cruz is really critical to them. Right-handed slugger. When you get to the playoffs and you face Bedard and, of course, John Lester with the Red Sox or CC Sabathia with the Yankees, you're going to need that right-handed might. They're hoping he can DH toward the last week of the season and then maybe get him back into the outfield for the division series.
Yeah, and, that division series is not a lock. I mean, 4.5 games on September 3rd, even though the season ends earlier this year. I mean, that Angel Ball Club, they're a tough outfit. Any team run by Mike Scioscia. So it's a hard thing. I mean, do you bring back Cruz when he's not ready, hoping, it depends on how close this thing gets.
Win the battle and lose the war.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an assurity that they're going to make it to October.
Right. They finished with 3 games at Anaheim.
That's right, to end the season.
2 strikes, 2 outs. Other than the 3 games at Tampa Bay and the 3 against the Indians, the Rangers will be playing all division opponents the rest of the way. And that's kind of good news for them because they are 15-6 against the AL West, their best record against any of the divisions. Here is what you're talking about, 4.5 games, 4 in the loss column.
That's right.
That's not a heck of a lot at this stage.
They lose today. The Angels win tonight. It's 3.5. So, I mean, believe me, a lot can happen in a very short period of time.
It could be 4.5 with 2 weeks left in the season.
That's right.
And you've got a race. Bedard now at 100 pitches. Wheeler has been working and would be ready for the Red Sox. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner at first base. And a slow ground ball. Youkilis throws out Torrealba, and that'll do it. The Rangers are retired in the 6th. Red Sox come up leading 9-3. Presented by Chevrolet. Red Sox batting in the 6th inning against 24-year-old Mark Hamburger, the 4th pitcher of the day for the Rangers, and Mike Aviles leading off and fouls off the first pitch. Aviles came in as a pinch hitter in the 4th inning with the bases loaded and a single to right field to give the Red Sox a 4-3 lead as part of that big 8-run 5th inning. And a shot to center field. Gentry there to make the play. And there's one down. Lowry leaving with some tightness. Carl Crawford coming up and should get a hand. Crawford slamming a grand slammer in the 4th inning that really opened it up for the Red Sox, who lead 9-3, and a pop foul ball out of play.
Well, Mike Avila's got the most important hit in that inning. Carl Crawford with the most explosive hit in that inning. Grand slam home run.
Part of an 8-run, 8-hit inning for the Red Sox. 1-1 now to Crawford. So Crawford, who drove in 5 runs, which matched a career high against the Rangers about a week ago in Texas, getting 4 on one swing here today.
Well, one of the hardest things when you're off to as horrendous a start as Carl Crawford was for his new team, a team with whom he signed a long-term contract. It's, you know, as the season goes on, you see yourself hitting .250, your team's almost assured of a postseason berth, and you try to make it up all with a couple of weeks of work. And that's one thing that Terry Francona has said, that they're trying to get Carl to look. It's almost like a new season every time you go out there. Forget about what happened in the first half. You're not going to make it up. You've got too many at-bats. You're not. I mean, so you hit .270 instead of .255. So what? But think of this as a new season. Try to get hot when we go into the postseason. That's the best way to approach it.
And a great approach at that. In fact,
yeah,
you know, he had 47 steals last year, 62 years ago, only 17 now. Well, he hasn't gotten on as much as he has, and that's why the steal numbers are down.
On-base percentage is down.
And look what he's done here. First player in MLB history with 100 homers, 100 triples, 400 stolen bases before the age of 30.
Yeah, that's who the Red Sox signed. He hasn't been that player. And they're trying to, I mean, how do you forget? I mean, you're a human being. You think about things like that. How can I make up the year? The fact is, you can't. Look at the month of September as you would look at the season before the season started.
Let them say when the playoffs start, well, his numbers weren't good, but he finished strong.
He finished strong, right.
Here's the 3-2, and Crawford hits a shot, and it's over his head. Off the wall, high off the wall. Crawford will stop at second base. And a double with one out here in the 6th inning, and what a shot this was.
Last time up, he hit a mortar to right field. This time up, he hit a rocket to center field.
And Carl Crawford on at second. We've been talking about him. And Ken Rosenthal, I know you've got something to add on Carl.
Well, Dick, you can say maybe this is the game that will get him going. But one Red Sox official told me there have been about 12 different occasions this season where Crawford had a 3 or 4 game stretch where he looked like he was coming out of it. They need to see more before they know that for sure.
All right, Ken. Josh Reddick.
I mean, this game's almost a story of 2 seasons. His first 2 at-bats today were terrible. Last 2 at-bats have been great.
And to his credit, his attitude has been even-keeled.
That's always going to be there. Outwardly.
Foul off the bat of Reddick. 2 strikes. How about Josh Reddick's game? Coming in with a double and a pair of singles. Both of his singles occurred in the 4th inning. He scored 2 runs of the 8 the Red Sox scored in that 4th inning. One out, and Crawford in scoring position. 9-3, the Red Sox lead. Reddick has had to perform and has performed well. We mentioned J.D. Drew being out of there, the veteran left-handed hitting right fielder. Now Connor Jackson was acquired this past week as a right-handed bat. And good pitch as Hamburger jams Reddick, who fights it off, and it's still 2 strikes. Stays alive again. Colby Lewis started for the Rangers, looking for his 12th win of the year, and lasted 3 1/3 innings, giving up 4 runs on 7 hits and the 2-run homer to Saltalamacchia. And then Yoshinori Tateyama came in, and he was the victim of the grand slam homer by Crawford. There's a ball hit to center field. Will drop in front of Gentry for a base hit. Crawford, who had to wait, goes to third. And the Red Sox now with runners at first and third. And 1 out. And Saltalamacchia coming up. So Reddick has 4 hits. First time in his career he's had a 4-hit game.
Josh Reddick came into the game 8 for his last 61.
Right.
And he has half as many hits in 4 at-bats today as he had in 61 plate appearances coming into the day.
Saltalamacchia with a 2-run homer and a single and a stolen base. Red Sox runners at first and third. And a strike. So Josh Reddick breaking out of it here, and you can see that the Red Sox trying to tally some more. Reddick is at first base, Crawford at third. Now it's 0-2. Red Sox with 25 games left after this one. 12 here at Fenway Park and 13 on the road. Keep in mind that this is a team that has won 42 games on the road, tying the Phillies for the most in the major leagues. One and two. Jared Saltalamacchia batting in the 9th spot. And the 1-2 pitch. And doesn't agree with Gary Darling's call as he takes a called third strike. And that'll be the 2nd out. Well, next week the regular season begins with a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First, Michael Vick and the Eagles take on the Rams, or the Falcons battle the Bears in Chicago as 2 of the NFC's best go head-to-head. Some will see the Lions and the Buccaneers. And on America's Game of the Week, the Giants take on the Redskins in D.C., or the Vikings play the Chargers. Seahawks battle the 49ers on the coast. The Panthers face the Cardinals. Coverage begins Sunday, September 11th with the Built for Tough Fox NFL pregame show. That'll be at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Check your local listings for the games in your area as NFL football is back on Fox. And done the way that it should be done if people have watched the coverage over the years.
Since '94, right?
Ellsbury, the ball getting away from Torrealba. The count 2 balls and no strikes to him. And the two great things, innovations, the Fox box, which now is taken for granted, where you see all of the information you need at the top of the screen all the time, and the addition of Mike Pereira, the former NFL officials head, who is in our studios, and any time there is a dispute or a question, and there are many of those, he is right there to lend his word.
Wasn't the first down line a Fox innovation also?
Yes, it was. That yellow line that we have to say during the course of a game, it's imaginary. It's not out there for the players to see. I mean, we can see it, but the players don't see it.
And, of course, the players don't see the Fox box either.
No, they don't. But I'll tell you what the players do see, Tim. They look up at the scoreboard, and when a catch is made or a play is over, they replay it up there, and those players are staring up at the scoreboard showing it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Often that happens, I guess, huh?
A lot. 3-1, ball 4, and Ellsbury is on for the 3rd time. He has walked twice and has an infield hit and an RBI. 85 runs batted into the year. Maddox quickly out of the dugout, and the bases are loaded with 2 out and Dustin Pedroia coming to the plate. All right, and of course we know it's fantasy league time in the NFL getting underway. Chris Rose, what do you have on that?
Well, Dick, that's huge in the clubhouses as well. In fact, the Red Sox have their fantasy football draft Monday when they're on the road in Toronto. They're going to rent out a room. A bunch of the players, clubbies, all those sorts of guys get together. In fact, Josh Beckett was trying to hit me up for some info. I told him I was terrible at this, but I got one of my Fox fantasy football gurus to give him a couple of picks, and while I was telling him, Papelbon comes over and starts yelling at me. He says, "Get out of here. Don't give him any information." So obviously this is big time in the Red Sox clubhouse. I'll keep you posted in a few weeks on how the draft goes.
All right, Chris. And Chris, you can't take sides there, you know. I mean,
no, I'm saying, hey, when Papelbon gets in your face, you get out of the way.
You know, this is a tough league. Bases loaded, 2 away, and here's Pedroia, and he takes down low for a ball. Pedroia has 1 for 4 in the game with a single, has scored a run. So there are the runners. Crawford at 3rd, Reddick at 2nd, and Ellsbury at 1st. With 2 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning, the Red Sox, who were trailing 3-1, scored 8 runs in the bottom of the 4th. Foul ball. 1-1 now to Pedroia. Mark Hamburger, 4th pitcher for Ron Washington's Rangers, who came in 4.5 games in front of the Angels in the AL West. Fly ball, center field. Gentry going way back, and near the wall, it's off the wall. 2 runs will score, and in its second with a double is Dustin Pedroia, and the Red Sox now lead it 10-3, 11-3 the score. Pedroia with RBIs number 75 and 76 on the year. Not much room for Gentry going up against that center field wall.
You would never think that a man that small, Pedroia is only 5'7.5", would have the power to center field. Sacks loaded, sacks empty, with the exception of Dustin Pedroia.
So 3-run score. They cleared the bases with ease. And Pedroia now with 77 runs batted in, and here is Adrian Gonzalez takes a strike. Well, after getting shut out 10-0 last night, the Red Sox responding right now with 12 runs on 15 hits, leading 12-3. And the ball getting back to the backstop, and Pedroia will go to 3rd. Wild pitch. Charge to Hamburger. Crawford with 4 runs batted in today. Pedroia with 3. Saltalamacchia with 2. Ellsbury and Aviles 1 apiece. And it's 1-2 now to Gonzalez.
Only hitter in the Red Sox lineup without a hit, Kevin Youkilis, who's 0 for 4.
Red Sox with a single and a pair of doubles here in the 6th inning. Out of play. Last night, no runs, 2 hits. Today, 12 runs, 15 hits, 2 home runs. And Dustin Pedroia with his 200th career double now standing at 3rd after the wild pitch. 2-2. Red Sox sending 13 men to the plate in the 4th inning. And that'll do it. Strike 3. Gonzalez goes down. The Red Sox pick up 3 more on Pedroia's bases clearing double. We'll return to Boston after a word from your local Fox station. Replaces Adrian Gonzalez at first base, and the new pitcher is Dan Wheeler, the 33-year-old, making his 45th appearance of the year. Has allowed only 6 runs in 33 outings. Retired 2 batters in the 9th inning Thursday against the Yankees here, and the first pitch to David Murphy is taken for a ball. How about the Baylor Bears beating 14th ranked TCU 50-48.
98 points.
Oh, 98 points.
My gosh.
That looked like, you know, many years ago that would have been basketballs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you could freeze the ball, right? 50-48.
4 corners.
4 corners, right.
2 balls and no strikes to Murphy, who knocked in a run back in the second inning, 1 for 2 with an RBI, and takes a strike. 2-1. Murphy now with 34 runs batted in. That time the Rangers took a 1-0 lead. And then 2 runs in the top of the third. The Rangers sailing along 3-0. Red Sox got a run back in the third and then exploded for 8 in the fourth. Wheeler falling behind. 3-1 now to Murphy. Twelfth year for Wheeler, first with the Red Sox, with the Rays the last 4 campaigns. Ground ball to Connor Jackson, just in the game, makes the play unassisted for out number 1 here in the 7th. Well, tonight, college football comes to FX as Charles Davis and Gus Johnson will bring you all the action beginning in Norman, Oklahoma, where the number 1 ranked Sooners host upset-minded in-state rival, the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. The FX Saturday College Football Game of the Week, presented by Russell Athletic in high definition, only on FX. Check your local listings for the channel and start time in your area. And this is the start of what is going to be a burgeoning coverage by FX and, of course, Fox Sports with college football. Major part of the Fox Sports presentation.
I'm a Sooner born, I'm a Sooner bred, I'll be a Sooner till I'm dead. Rocklahoma, 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 OKU.
Oh, okay, Tim. Leonys Martin, pinch hitting here. Had his first career base hit last night, batting for Gentry, and takes a breaking pitch for strike 2, 0-2. This was last night.
Leonys' first major league hit, and that'll bring a smile to your face.
So Martin getting that pinch hit in the 8th inning. Chop foul at the plate off his foot.
I told you before the game something you didn't know, that I attended Oklahoma University
I did not know.
1 semester in 1963, and that was the same fall that Bud Wilkinson kicked Joe Don Looney off the team after a non-hustling performance against the University of Texas in Dallas.
You had to hustle if you were going to play for Bud Wilkinson.
You better believe it.
And I believe they had a 47-game winning streak, consecutive streak.
From I believe 53 to 57.
That's
and
correct.
Notre Dame broke it up
7-0.
winning 7-0. I think in Norman. I believe that game
it was in Norman, and it was Jim Lynch.
Wow.
Who later played with the Giants, scored the touchdown.
Jim Lynch has done radio for the Giants, I think, over the years. Has he not?
Yes, he has. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Martin. With 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning, Dan Wheeler in relief of Eric Bedard. Bedard worked 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 5 hits, struck out 6 and walked 4, and struck out 4 of those 6 in the last 2 innings he worked. Through 101 pitches today. Bedard, barring an incredible miracle, will capture his first win since coming over from Seattle on July the 31st. 2-2 pitch chopped to Pedroia at second, and Martin is retired for the 2nd out. So Dan Wheeler, the former Tampa Bay Ray and New England native. More on him. Here's Ken Rosenthal.
Dick, Dan Wheeler is from Warwick, Rhode Island, and he has really enjoyed playing close to home. His mom and dad come up for games. He got back home for his younger sister Kerry's birthday. And maybe his favorite moment was when he got to throw out the first pitch for his old Little League, the Warwick West Side Little League. And his catcher was a guy named Jim Dauber. That was his old Little League and American Legion coach.
Boy, it's special when New Englanders can come back and play for the hometown team. Huh?
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful.
1-0 to Ian Kinsler. 0 for 2 with the walk, and Mark Lowe in the Rangers bullpen. Two and 0. And the pitch is down low. Because the Red Sox have some issues as far as their starting pitching along the lines. And
well, you've got Josh Beckett and John Lester that are solid. Clay Buchholz may pitch, but it's doubtful he'll have enough innings before the end of the month to get him with any kind of consistency for the postseason.
Andrew Miller got shelled last night. Actually started off by walking the first 2 hitters and then committing a balk. And right now they may not know what they're getting from Andrew Miller game to game.
Yeah, that's right. You have John Lackey who's starting tomorrow, and whether John Lackey starts game 3 would depend on how he does the rest of the year. So you have auditions on both sides for the Rangers and the Red Sox and the Yankees for that matter.
Yes. They're heartened that A.J. Burnett pitched as well as he did the other night in that third and final game of the series.
Giving up 1 run in 5 2/3 innings.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Ian Kinsler, who has hit 5 homers against the Red Sox this year, fouls this one out of play. And then, of course, Tim Wakefield, who has been added to the Red Sox as a starter, now missing a start, worked in relief last night and slated to work as a starter Wednesday in Toronto. Andrus would be next for the Rangers. Yankees winning earlier 6-4 over Toronto, so the Red Sox looking to win and remain a half a game behind New York. Cardinals leading the Reds 6-4 in the 8th inning. St. Louis coming in 8.5 games behind the Brewers in the National League Central. 3-2 pitch. Scooped up by Aviles, and that'll do it. 1-2-3 inning for Dan Wheeler. Red Sox come up in the home 7th. Chevrolet is sponsored by Sprint, all together now. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Red Sox leading the Rangers 12-3. And now let's listen to sounds of the game. Let's hear Gary Darling, the home plate umpire.
Kobe. 2.5.
Hey, Petey, how are you?
Just stalling.
I thought it was Belcher.
No, just stalling.
Oh, okay.
See,
What we
2.5.
got?
2.5.
How you doing?
Good, you?
Nice day, huh?
No, not even, no. I need 3. Oh, there's a ball out there. Never mind. They need some water, too. That's all right. Just room temperature. I'd give you a tip, but I got no money on me.
Sounds of the game, and a long day and a hard-working day for Gary Darling, who's the crew chief. Matt Trainer is now behind the plate for the Rangers. And in center field, Martine, who had gone into pinch hit. And the new pitcher is Mark Lowe, 5th pitcher of the game for the Rangers. Kevin Youkilis leading off, 48th appearance of the year for Lowe.
How funny was that? Home plate umpire Gary Darling introducing himself to Eric Bedard. Just call me Gary. It's Gary Darling.
It was kind of
yes.
unusual.
Yes, it was.
Youkilis is 0 for 4. As Tim mentioned, the only Red Sox starter without a base hit today. They have 15 hits at all, taking a strike. And we want to welcome all of you who have just joined us here on Fox Saturday Baseball. Fenway Park in Boston, the scene. Red Sox leading the Texas Rangers 12-3. We're all here for the game in which the Red Sox are breaking it open with 8 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning after trailing 3-1, sending 13 men to the plate. Youkilis checks the swing, and it's 2-1. And this is what the game's been all about. The 8-run 4th, featured by Carl Crawford's grand slam home run. Eric Bedard working 6 innings and looking for his first win since coming over from Seattle. And Josh Reddick with his first career 4-hit game. Darren Saltalamacchia also with a 2-run homer in the 4th inning. In a lot of game ways, even though it's not a shutout, it's kind of reversal of what the Red Sox Ranger series opener was last night when Texas won 10-0.
Right.
Limiting the Red Sox to 2 hits. Here's Kinsler making it look easy and throwing out Youkilis for the first out here in the 7th inning.
You know, we talked earlier about Texas being only 4.5 games in front of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks are only 5 games in front of the San Francisco Giants. Giants winning last night, and what a matchup tonight. Ian Kennedy against Tim Lincecum. Ian Kennedy is 17-4 on the year. He is tied with Clayton Kershaw, and we've had a fan, an unruly wombat on the field right now.
He's taking the time up of everyone here.
That's right. So we're not showing him. But anyway, he's tied with Clayton Kershaw. And when you think about how Ian Kennedy got to Arizona, it's pretty remarkable. You've heard where a trade between 2 teams helps both teams. But what about a trade among 3 teams that help all 3 teams? Curtis Granderson goes to the Yanks from Detroit. Phil Cope, Austin Jackson, Max Scherzer comes over from Arizona to Detroit. So 3 players go to Detroit. Ian Kennedy goes from the Yankees to the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, Dick, you and I were talking about it before the game. How many trades have helped 3 teams? And I can't
either.
for the life of me figure out. I mean, Arizona gets a possible Cy Young Award winner. The New York Yankees get Curtis Granderson. This is, of course, after almost 2 years. Curtis Granderson could easily be the MVP of the American League. And then you've got Scherzer with 13 wins for the Tigers. Austin Jackson, a very good player in his 2nd year. And Phil Coke's done an admirable job for Jim Leland.
Well, usually the third team is just to make the trade work for two other teams. But rarely, you're absolutely right, we couldn't think of anything to... Rarely do you have a situation where there is, major people exchange over three clubs.
Who are very successful almost immediately after the trades.
Well, everything has been cleared up on the field, and David Ortiz takes a strike. One out here in the seventh inning. But Ian Kennedy, what a year for him. Ken Rosenthal has more.
Well, Tim, I remember a game quite vividly from April 2008. Ian Kennedy was pitching for the Yankees. He said some things to me the day before that made him sound kind of tentative and nervous.
Against the shift, Kinsler throws out Ortiz.
And I remember you very much on the broadcast the next day after I related that, saying, hey, this kid sounds scared. He can't sound scared. He has to pitch with more confidence, more aggression. Well, Brian Cashman always believed in him, but Josh Burns, the Diamondbacks general manager at the time, also believed in him. Clearly he has benefited from going to the National League, and what a great success he has been.
Yeah, Ken, I remember saying that on the telecast, that he was pitching tentatively, and it had nothing to do with this stuff. He was just very tentative in his approach, and you got the feeling that if he could ever be given a little more rope, that he would be a better pitcher. And boy, has that ever come true this year.
And trying to keep the Diamondbacks ahead of the Giants. That's a great pitching matchup tonight in that NL West race. Here's Mike Aviles, and he's hit the ball hard. He had an RBI single, and this one is going to be off the wall. So Aviles going into second base with a double. So he pinch hit for Jed Lowry, who had to come out with an injury, and got an RBI single in the fourth inning. Lined hard to Gentry, then the center fielder, and now gets a double with two out here in the seventh.
You know what Ted Williams' favorite four words were? This guy can hit. And this guy, Mike Aviles, can hit. The Red Sox knew that. That's why they picked him up from Kansas City a couple of months ago.
Two down, and Aviles at second. And Carl Crawford. Great point by Tim. First two at-bats unspectacular, and then lights out the last two times he's been up with a grand slam homer in the fourth inning as part of the 8-run fourth, and then a double coming around and scoring his second run of the game in the sixth. So Crawford trying to get his fifth RBI in this game, something he did against the Rangers last week on the road. 1-1. Aviles with the lead at second. Nine of the Red Sox 16 hits have come from the last four hitters in their lineup today. You talked about the bottom of the order. Aviles with a single and a double. Crawford a homer and a double. Reddick with 4 hits for the first time in his career. And Saltalamacchia with a home run and a single. Two and one. Now 3-1 to Crawford. On deck is Josh Reddick. And Reddick will be looking for his 5th hit of the game, either this inning or in the bottom of the 8th. 3 balls and a strike. Mark Lowe, the 5th pitcher of the day for Ron Washington's Rangers. And now the count full to Crawford. Rangers bullpen today 3 1/3 innings, an ERA of 21.81, and that's unlike the Texas bullpen throughout the season.
Sounds like the cost of a pound and a half of turkey. 21-81.
3-2 pitch, and Crawford strikes out, and that'll end it. Red Sox with a double. Runners stranded at second. We go to the 8th, and it's 12-3 Boston. On Fox, presented by Chevrolet. Elvis Andrus on the first pitch with a ball that is going to be high off the wall, retrieved by Crawford, and into second with a leadoff double is Elvis Andrus. His second hit of the game and the third time he's been on base. Off of Dan Wheeler. Came in last inning in relief of Eric Bedard, and Josh Hamilton coming to the plate. Darnell McDonald is now the Red Sox center fielder, replacing Jacoby Ellsbury. Hamilton is 1 for 3, singled in the first inning. Six hits now for the Rangers. And a shot to right field, and that'll be a base hit. Rounding third, and the throw is cut off, and scoring is Andrus, and Josh Hamilton with his second hit of the game and an RBI, 76 of the season. And it is now 12-4.
Hanging curveball to Josh, last year's MVP, and he shows you why.
That'll bring up Michael Young. And Michael Young with a run-scoring single in the third inning. He's 1 for 3. Came in second behind Adrian Gonzalez in hitting in the American League and gets a base hit through the hole in left. And Hamilton goes to second. Darren Oliver is throwing in the Red Sox, or the Ranger bullpen, and the Red Sox looking to get somebody warming up now as Young with the single. 3 straight hits off of Dan Wheeler here in the 8th inning. And Franklin Morales, the left-hander, begins to throw.
Hard to believe, as productive as Michael Young has been throughout his career, and we talked about it earlier. He broke in with the Rangers in 2001 and has only one season where he had 100 RBIs or more. And this year he has a chance to surpass a little over 20 games and only 10 RBIs short of 100.
Here is Beltre, who is 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. And for those of you tuned into the White Sox Tiger game, they have a rain delay with the White Sox leading the Tigers 8-5, and we'll send you back there as soon as play resumes. Here's a shot down the left field line. 4 pitches and 4 hits off of Dan Wheeler. Coming around to score is Hamilton. And Young goes to third, and it is now a 12-5 game. Beltre with his 79th run batted inning of the year, and the Rangers are teeing off on Dan Wheeler here.
Yeah, I know it's still only a 12-5 ball game, but things are getting, there's nobody out. Things are getting a little tight, and I don't think Terry Francona wants to bring Jonathan Papelbon into the game, but he has both Bard and Papelbon if he needs them.
So 4 pitches and 4 hits. And here's Mike Napoli, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. Runners at first and third, nobody out. 12-5 the score. Pitch inside, and this Texas team is explosive enough that the old story they used to say at Fenway, no lead is safe. Well, against Texas, no lead is safe.
Well, the hits came so rapidly that Terry Francona had no chance to get Morales up and ready to go. Another hit, though, he's surely in the ball game.
Pop fly down the right field line. Coming over is Reddick, and he makes the catch in fair territory. Tagging up and scoring is Young, and going to second is Beltre as the ball gets past Saltalamacchia. So a sacrifice fly RBI for Napoli.
Josh Reddick, I think, was surprised that Young was going, and I'll tell you, I was surprised Michael Young would go with the Rangers trailing by 7. You see that moment hesitation to throw slightly up the line, and a good slide by Michael Young.
And Beltre going to second on an error by Saltalamacchia. And
that's a tough error on the catcher, though. I think that's got to be, the throws up the line, I believe that's an error on the right fielder, Josh Reddick. But not to be.
No, Matt Trainer up for the first time in the game. Came in as a defensive replacement for Torrealba. Trainer back with Texas after a waiver deal, having been with Kansas City and played with the Rangers last year. Into the World Series, made 67 starts last year, and now back with Texas. 2 strikes as Wheeler gets ahead of him. 3 runs in for the Rangers here in the top of the 8th inning. Red Sox leading 12-6. 1-2. So an RBI single this inning by Josh Hamilton and a sacrifice fly by Mike Napoli, along with Adrian Beltre with a sharp single to left field. On the corner, strike 3, and the Trainer goes down for out number 2. Well, here's today's mini moment brought to you by Burger King and the all-new BK Burger and Chicken Minis. The Saltalamacchia and Crawford home runs in the 4th inning. First the 2-run drive, and then the grand slam homer by Carl Crawford, as the Red Sox scored 8 runs. And that'll be all for Dan Wheeler as he leaves the mound. And Franklin Morales will be checking in when we come back. Morales, the southpaw, making his 28th appearance of the year. Those are his numbers. He's the most rested pitcher in the Red Sox bullpen. Last worked Tuesday and then only a third of an inning. And he'll be facing David Murphy, who was 1 for 3 with a run scoring single back in the second inning. A lot of crooked numbers, as they say on the scoreboard today. 2 runs in the third for Texas, 8 in the fourth for Boston. That's a rounded number, though. 3 for the Red Sox in the sixth, and 3 here in the eighth for the Rangers. Beltre at second with 2 out. That pitch inside 2-0 to Murphy. Morales has not allowed a run in his last 10 outings, dating back to the 4th of August. Leonys Martin would be next for Texas. Big cut by Murphy. And it's a 2-1. Murphy, by the way, now on a 9-game hitting streak as a result of his base hit in the second inning. Had 4 hits last night, which was his season's high. Slices this one out of play. 2-2 to David Murphy. Eric Bedard looking for his first win since coming over from the Red Sox from Seattle on July the 31st in a 3-team trade. Pitched 6 innings, threw 101 pitches, allowed 3 runs, 5 hits. Dan Wheeler worked an inning and 2/3 and was touched for the 3 runs that the Rangers have scored. Still responsible for Beltre at second. And the count now full, 3-2 to Murphy. Red Sox trying to draw even against the defending American League champions in this 3-game series. And it's popped up and a play. Youkilis makes the catch, and that'll do it. So Morales gets the one man he's had to face. 3-run scoring for the Rangers. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 12-6 Red Sox. Now get DirecTV's best offer of the year and buy Jeep. Dick Stockton, Tim McCarver, Ken Rosenthal, Chris Rose with you at Fenway Park. Into the evening, Red Sox in front 12-6, batting in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Darren Oliver is on the pitch and will be facing Josh Reddick, who has 4 hits for the first time in his career, fouls off the first pitch for a strike. He doubled in the second, singles in the fourth, 2 singles in the 4th inning when the Red Sox scored 8 runs, and then another base hit in the 6th. He has scored 3 runs. And that pitch hits him, and Reddick hit by the pitch, and Terry Francona quickly out of the dugout.
I think one of the reasons this is so alarming to Red Sox fans is he was going into the pitch as opposed to drawing his hand away from it. It was almost a swing. So going into the pitch, I believe it hit him on his left, that hamate bone, which it runs along the side of the hand or perhaps the wrist, but a very dangerous area. That's the area it hit him. I know it sounds strange, but those gloves do have some protection. Not a lot, but it's better than
bare hand,
hitting the bare hand. Yeah. But had he been drawing the hand away from it, well, would have been perhaps less painful, but he appears to be okay.
And he'll move on down to first base.
Hope it's not one of those things where you find out later that something may be pinched in the swelling.
Interesting that that's the position that the Red Sox fighting with J.D. Drew.
That's right.
Still on the disabled list, and Connor Jackson just coming up, but he's a right-handed bat there. So
yeah, and on the heels of his best day as a big leaguer.
Right. 4 hits. So here's Jared Saltalamacchia with a 2-run homer and a single, both in the same 4th inning, taking ball 1 from Oliver. Bottom of the 8th inning, the Red Sox 12 and the Rangers 6. One and one. Oliver, one of 6 pitchers in the major leagues, 40 years or more.
Son of former major leaguer Bob Oliver, and he has had a terrific career.
Good fastball there, 1-2. 18th season for Darren Oliver and his 3rd stint with the Texas Rangers. And there's a 1.35 earned run average in his last 18 appearances. One and two to Saltalamacchia. Reddick is on base, and a good stop by Trainer. As Tim mentioned, tomorrow in the series finale, John Lackey, who's 12-10 on the year, will go against Matt Harrison, who was 10-9. And a line drive speared by Andrews, and they get the double play, doubling off Reddick at first base. And there are 2 down.
Nice timing play by Elvis Andrews. And Reddick is doubled off.
So 2 down, and here is Darnell McDonald coming up for the first time. Came in as a replacement for Jacoby Ellsbury in center field. McDonald at 190 with 5 homers, 18 runs batted in. And takes a strike. 0 for 2 last night, making his first start in right field against the left-handed pitcher since the acquisition of Connor Jackson. Hit 270 last year. And quickly 2 strikes on McDonald. Bases are empty with 2 down here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Red Sox leading by 6. Since the beginning of August, the Red Sox are 8-9 at home, and they have been 6-8 against teams with winning records. And you can have a prolific hitting team, but then you know, the winds change a little bit when you get to September here at Fenway Park, and those high run totals are not as frequent. Well, today, don't tell that to the Red Sox. McDonald strikes out, and that'll do it. We go now to the top of the 9th inning with the Red Sox in front 12-6. Comes into play shortstop, and Mike Aviles now will move to right field, replacing Josh Reddick. Remember, he was hit in the hand by a pitch from Darren Oliver, trotted down to first base, and so Aviles is out at right field. And Esteban Herman has come on to pinch hit for Martin, who was the scheduled hitter in the number 9 slot. Takes ball 1 from Franklin Morales. And a shot hit deep to left center field, way back and way up and gone. What a shot by Herman. A solo home run, and that was out of here in a hurry. And it is now 12-7.
Herman spells his name German. The G is silent, but not his bat.
And his first home run and his second official at bat. Silent. I mean, that's still resounding. That crushing home run.
I mean, did he crush that ball? Gosh. Way back up in the seats.
And Ian Kinsler. So now the lead is 5 for the Red Sox. 12-7, nobody out. Kinsler 0 for 3 with a walk. And 1-1. Eric Bedard worked 6 innings and stands to be the winning pitcher. The Rangers can get out of this. Red Sox can retire them. with a 5-run lead now. And a shot to center field, but McDonald is there. That ball hung up there. And Kinzel's retired for the first out. And now it's time for the Just for Men Keep Your Edge Spotlight.
Eric Bedard, what a job going to more of the fastballs. He struck out at one time, 4 out of 5 batters that made outs in the 4th and 5th innings, striking out 6 on the night. Good job by Eric Bedard trying to win his first game as a Sox.
And just as Eric Bedard gives the Red Sox the edge, you too can keep your edge with Just for Men Mustache and Beard. Another drive to center field, and another one handled by Darnell McDonald as Elvis Andrus is retired for the second out. And so Josh Hamilton will come to the plate as the last hope for the Rangers. Hamilton has 2 hits, including a run-scoring single last inning. Hamilton now is 76th run batted in on the year. So Bedard, 4-4 lifetime against Texas, 0-2 this year. And a line shot base hit to left field. So Hamilton with his 3rd hit of the game. 2-out single will bring Michael Young to the plate. And Young with a pair of hits, including a RBI single in the 3rd to right field.
Tell you, with Josh Hamilton, it's that calm before the storm. He is so quiet in the batter's box until that ball's about 15 feet away, and then that explosion, the ball just rings off his bat.
And the first pitch is low and inside for a ball. 27 hits today and 19 runs. Befitting the top 2 teams hitting-wise in the league.
Yeah, it's a characteristic Rangers-Red Sox game.
Win for the Red Sox would narrow the gap in the season series to 5-4 with the Rangers in front. And would even this series at 1 game apiece with the rubber game tomorrow here at Fenway Park. 1 ball and 1 strike to Michael Young. Yankees defeating the Blue Jays 6-4. Red Sox would stay a half a game behind if they can close this one out. Another pitch low and 2-1. Angels and the Twins playing in a little while, and the pitch fouled away. So Morales with the count now, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Michael Young. Josh Hamilton, the runner at first. Esteban Herman hitting a home run to start this 9th inning. Crowd now on his feet, looking for Morales to finally close the door. But the flight at first, they pick him off.
That cannot happen, ever.
And Josh Hamilton is picked off by Franklin Morales.
I've never seen that, Dick. I've never seen the game end with a pickoff at first base with the team trailing by 5 runs. Inexcusable.
Not even close.
Inexcusable.
And the game is over, and the Red Sox have won it by a score of 12-7. And Eric Bedard wins his first game in a Red Sox uniform. Grand slam homer by Carl Crawford, 2-run drive by Saltalamacchia. And we'll wrap things up from Boston right after these messages from your local Fox station.